This One Up podcast is brought to you by Doritos Unlock Xbox Contest. Visit www.unlockxbox.com to turn your dream into the world's first user-generated Xbox video game.
Hey, it's time for the weekend. Last Friday of July 27th. This is the One Up Yours show. I'm Garnet Lee, and we have John back with us today, and Shane, and special guest once again back with us, Mr. Jeff Green of Games Windows.
Hello, and thank you.
You're not
for
that
having me.
Your voice is pretty special, but you're not really that special of a guest anymore.
Yeah, I'm kind of a sweat. What would you call me? Are you still doing the deep voice?
He is
How's
really
that go? Is that working still?
It's
People said they didn't like your voice. Is this an attempt to?
Yeah, I'm going for a little more, deeper, huskier, manly voice. How's it working for me?
Yeah, lady man
guys-
say that's not working out so well for you, Jeff.
You're not attracted?
I think it sounds much less nerdy than your real voice.
Will you go home with me? Go home with me, Shane.
So, did you just accuse him?
Sorry.
You accused him of having a nerdy voice.
No, he didn't
No,
accuse me.
No, you did. You just said, I think it sounds much less nerdy than your regular voice.
Oh.
Well, it does.
Hi, I work for a PC gaming magazine.
I have done for a
big
very long
surprise.
Hello,
I have a
we're
nerdy
nerds.
voice. Right. Everyone listening is a nerd. I love them.
Way to piss off the entire
I love all
entire
of you.
audience.
Straight out of the gate, Jeff's already making the entire audience mad. Damn it! What's going
Fuck
on
all
here?
of you.
God damn it! Oh. Anyway, we're gonna have a regular show today. We're gonna do what you've been playing in the first segment. In the second segment, as we had up on the boards, got some responses. John's back, so we will have message board threads in the second segment.
We haven't forgotten about them.
I know we didn't forget about them. We just had a full packed show. It was the last E3 show last week, so that was not a slight. It was we wanted to get through an E3 deal and just close the door on that whole damn thing in Santa Monica and be done with it.
Always forgets about you.
He doesn't really love you.
I don't really love you. I'm sorry, kids.
But I thought it's your show. I thought that's what it's about, one of yours.
It is your
Isn't that what
show.
you always say?
Yes.
Except when John's not here.
Jesus Christ. I can't even get through the frickin' rundown.
Garnet only cares about himself.
Oh.
That part's true. And then we're going to talk about the sequels and what it takes to keep them going, because we've been talking about our coverage for all the shows coming up, all the games coming up this holiday season, and boy, a lot of them have big numbers at the ends of them. Yeah. And those without numbers, someone asked me in that thread, what was the asterisk for? The asterisk was for games that have a number that isn't really accurately representing how high in the series they are.
Huh. Like?
Well, like Gran Turismo 5 isn't really the fifth Gran Turismo if you count like all the prologues and special editions and all that kind of stuff that they've done, right?
Okay.
Same thing with like the Tony Hawk's. What did we determine we were up to on Tony Hawk's?
This is 9.
Yeah, so
Or maybe 10, depending if you count Downhill Jam. Anyway.
So that's what the asterisk is all about.
Jam.
And then coming back in the final Black Boy, we have some killer news to go through. We've got stuff from Comic-Con. We'll have Patrick in to talk about NPDs. And then, of course, we can't let the show go without talking about those trailers that came out this week, the RE5 and Metal Gear stuff. So
It's too bad you're not going to be here for the Comic-Con news, Jeff. I know you were looking at the new Mylar bag technology they were revealing there.
I'm still sweating after hearing that news. Yeah.
what the hell are you talking about?
I wet myself a little.
He likes Mylar bags. They're acid-free. They protect his comics.
The deal you put the comics in before you
I
stick them in
can't
the box
believe you
and
didn't
hide
know
them in the
this.
closet.
You're obviously not a nerd.
Yeah.
Well, damn, take my card. I'm sorry.
Anyway.
John, you've been away. You want to kick us off with what you've been playing?
All I've been playing is everything you talked about last week.
Well, so that's okay. We didn't get to hear you.
But weren't you playing handheld games on a magical journey?
Where were you, John?
I went to, I was on vacation and I got summoned back to the office for a day. And then I went to Monterey to look at large fish in small confined spaces.
Nice.
It's a nice aquarium. Actually.
So you
That's
saw
a great
the
aquarium.
you saw the otters.
I saw the otters, which are much bigger than you think they're going to be.
Otters are overrated. However, the jellyfish are awesome.
They are.
Jellyfish are amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really good.
They're like aliens. You know?
Kind of.
Especially when you see how they breed and they have like polyps.
How do they breed?
They have these little polyps that come off the tentacles and then they come off and then they turn into things. It's like,
Ew.
It's her.
Wow.
Anyway.
Can I introduce you in the
I got
upcoming Endless Ocean for the Wii? It's a magical journey of undersea exploration.
Oh, is this different from the scuba diving game you were talking about last week?
It's the same one.
Oh, it's the same one?
Yeah. Anyway.
I think I like our way better than the octopus way. I mean, I haven't tried that way.
Seahorses.
Maybe I will tonight.
Do you know
I'll
that-
ask the missus.
Hey, Jeff, you know that seahorses...
You bust me off Apollo.
Dear.
Seahorses are all hermaphrodites, and they have sex with themselves.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Self-love.
Did you
We're all
notice
experts at that.
Was there a hint of jealousy in that?
From him?
From you?
No.
Seahorses. Let me tell you about them.
I mean, seahorses are majestic creatures.
As is the jellyfish.
Indeed.
What are we talking about?
I don't know.
So,
what were you playing?
Not much handheld stuff because we drove to Monterey from here. So,
right.
So I played some Project Sylphid.
Cool. What was your impression of it?
I don't think I'll play it again.
It kind of straddles the line between being a Wing Commander game and like a regular shooter, right?
Right. And I think there's too much junk going on, and I'd hate the controls and
What'd you not like about the controls?
the fact that everything is on one stick. I was craving. I kept
The special move thing.
I kept trying to control it like every other shooter on the planet with two sticks, and it kept like you have to because it's rotate, and so it's like flying a plane with no rudders.
Yeah.
So there's no way to sort of slide into anything or really catch up to anything. And then what you guys were saying about you're essentially just fighting specs with missiles. Like so far, any kind of gun is pointless. Like it gives you the machine gun and the laser and everything. And what the fuck am I going to use that for? Because I just lock onto things and shoot 6 missiles at once and then turn around and fly back in the other direction.
Well, right, and then like the first level of your special ability is that multi-lock that just sends swarms of Robotech missiles all over the place.
Yeah. So I mean, I wanted to try it because I'd heard people mention Wing Commander.
Did you read Joe Rebicki's review of it?
He loved it.
He really liked it.
7.5
He
or
really
something.
liked it. Yeah.
It hasn't made much of an impression on anybody that I've talked to, but some people do get into it and like it somewhat, but it's definitely not a system seller. And I'm proud of Microsoft for giving it the $40 price point.
And I will say the cutscenes are beautiful. I think the mix of the sort of CG and anime style and the way it gels with the game art itself it's a pretty game, but you would expect that from Square.
Well, and then that's the whole point of why it's a problem that you're just shooting at little specks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the capital ships are okay, but they're not anything. They're not these huge, spectacular. They're just look, it's a big green thing that looks like a glue gun flying towards me.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean they kind of like made me think of Sword of the Stars kind of stuff. Have you ever watched that or anything?
Mm-hmm.
So,
But not a lot else.
Oh.
really? So you did the game off.
I accidentally really got into Hexic again.
Oh,
Really?
What's wrong with that?
Is there
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying it was an accident.
Can you save
How
yourself
was it an accident?
for the sequel? They announced the sequel at E3.
Yeah.
Save
So I was
yourself.
like going through and I was like, I just want to play something just sort of mindless. I was going through the arcade games that I'd downloaded and I didn't really want to shoot anything. So I'm like, I've not played Hexic for ages, and it's kind of sucked me in for a couple of hours.
It can definitely draw. That's the whole thing of that
Yeah.
game. It's like, ooh.
My 360 is like the arcade machine. That's what it's become. And I mean, I don't regret it either. I've had great times just playing the arcade games on that box.
Oh, something I did play while I was on vacation is there was an ice cream store in the middle of downtown Monterey that had one of those tabletop retro
like
boxes
a cocktail
that
with
has,
multiple games
yeah,
in
and
it?
it has like 150
Oh, wow.
games in it.
Those are so expensive.
It was 25 cents.
No.
Oh, they're three.
The actual the actual unit.
Damn,
Because like
Shane needs a raise.
yeah, but
It's a quarter.
I thought you were talking per game.
No,
but
to actually
they're like
purchase
they're
one of
like
those.
$4,000.
right, because you're
But
paying all the
I
licenses.
played Galaga 3, which I've never played.
You mean
3?
you mean Gapless?
Well, it was plugged on the box as Galaga 3.
I didn't even know there was a
I think
Galaga
that's
3.
Me neither.
I think that's Gapless. Is it one where you get the tractor beam and you can like
Yes.
yeah, it's called
And you can suck them down towards you, and the
Yeah.
ship breaks.
Oh, wow.
and-
That's actually
yeah.
called
I never played that.
Gapless. And the third level's impossible. You're going backwards as you get this far.
Yeah.
Like it's called the challenging stage.
Yeah.
It's on one of the Namco.
Challenging being
stage.
quite an understatement.
I'm also a big Gapless fan. Not as good as Galaga 88, which I've extolled the virtues of on this podcast in the past. But that's on Namco Museum Volume 4, 2, one of those.
Really?
Yeah.
No, it was
Wow.
like
Crap. You know a lot.
This thing,
I
Stick around.
misjudged you.
Stick around. You might learn something, Grandpa.
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Oh my God, Grandpa Green.
Aren't you glad it's not you?
Yes, I'm actually
There you go.
thrilled to fucking
Oh, is
death.
that why I'm on?
That's why we keep
To
asking.
make you feel young, Garnet?
Fourth chair confirmed.
Lock.
Great.
Oh,
Anyway.
dear.
Well, you played Gapless. I give you credit for playing.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
That, and I played some Burger Time.
Oh, man, I
always a
used to
winner.
love that one. That was a
Yeah.
blast.
Still good.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So there you go. The thrill ride that was my gaming experience
Wow.
last week.
That's all right. You got to go have a nice time on the coast and
Yeah.
relax with the
And
wife. That's a
not-
good thing.
Not really think about games all week.
And now you've got a whole stock lined up for this week, I'm sure.
Well, I'm going to finally finish The Darkness.
Oh,
Although-
good. You can come.
Don't get Garnet
yeah,
started
there we
on
go
that.
again.
I heard
Yep.
your ringing endorsement of the ending last week. So I'm at the final
Did
thing.
you see how
I'm
much
on-
flack I took for that?
No.
There are a lot of people who were like thoroughly like, dude, you have no idea what you're talking about. The ending is awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm just on my way to the radio, the ship or whatever it is. The
Right.
very final chapter. I'm
You're-
right there. So I'm like an
you're
hour
there.
from the end, right?
Less.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're done.
Okay.
You're pretty much done. The resolution at the end. You've already hit the end of chapter 4 is the climax to the game, and 5 is the resolution. It's interesting.
Oh, that was the climax?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I must have missed that.
Yeah.
sounds pretty anticlimactic.
So,
Yeah.
so the bit with all the weird demons in the massage chairs, that was the end?
That was the end.
Wait, demons and massage chairs?
Well, you know those massage chairs that have like the rings that you put your face in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
all
like
these,
at the mall.
Yeah, there's a room with a bunch of like the Darkness's minions sat in those things, and you just go and pull the plug on all of them.
We should have done the spoiler alert prior to this, but I mean,
That's
yes.
not much
How is that spoiling anything?
Just saying, because people might not be all the way to that point yet or something. Anyway,
There's
yeah,
people in massage chairs. Spoiler.
they use
Great, John. Thanks.
It's been too long since I was in literary class, but they use that different literary style, where you hit the climax before you get to the end, and they have the there's a name for that part.
The denouement.
The
The name, that is it. That is it. So that's
Wow.
chapter 5.
Oh, well.
The denouement.
And I need to track down a copy of Overlord because I still haven't been able to play.
Darren
it.
loves that
Oh
one.
My God, I love that game. I've been playing the shit out of that over the weekend. It's so fun. You know what it has? It has the vibe of Dungeon Keeper and Dungeon Keeper 2. It so has the Molyneux vibe from when he was in the zone with that crazy, like, let's be evil, but let's be like whimsical evil and have fun with it.
But I have heard a lot of functionality concerns and lack of a map and this.
The lack of a map is
Yeah.
a total pain in the neck.
Yeah.
I will agree with the lack
But
of a map.
people
being a
enjoy
pain in the neck.
it's very charismatic and cute. And, yeah.
But other than that, dude, I have no issues at all with that game. Are you kidding me? It's a blast. You don't really have. So there's two ways to send your minions out. You can either point and pull the trigger to send them out, which is kind of inaccurate. But you can use the right stick to like drive your minions around, and it works really well. That way, it actually works exceedingly well.
Oh, and I played a little bit of Warhawk and got kicked off a server for loitering alone while waiting for other people.
Wow.
Well,
Criminal.
Yeah.
yeah, you need to be more conscientious.
So there's been these organized games every day this week. I don't know if any of you are involved in them, where they're trying to get as many people as possible. And I missed one of them, and a bunch of people said, "Oh, well, we'll come back and we'll play." So there was one map running on a server, and I'm like, "Well, I'll go in there and I'll just wait for people." And I left. I jumped into a Warhawk, and I was like hovering above a tree or something. I was like, "Well, I'll leave it there, and I'll wait till people come in, and I'll go check my email." And I turn around 5 minutes later, and I've been kicked, and there's this big warning on the screen: "You have been kicked. If you get kicked 2 more times, you will be banned from this server for life."
Damn. Did you see? Was there any text on? Had
No, there's
had
just
they
a
tried to contact you beforehand? Like,
not that
hey,
I could,
douche,
not
where
that
are
I
you?
could see.
No.
So yeah, I need to be careful in the Warhawk world.
That's right. You may never get to play your hawk again.
Exactly.
Oh my lord.
But I really like Warhawk a lot.
I really like the motion control. I mean, we've talked about it before, and like Crispin, he's been playing it hardcore, and he's gotten so good with it that watching him play, the things he can do with motion control, like the crazy moves he can pull and the loops, and like, yeah, he has complete control over it. They should take videos of him for game videos because
Yeah.
it shows you like the potential of when you actually like really learn how to use the motion.
It's cool once you get used to the different states of the Warhawk. Because it has two states and then multiple layers when it comes to the thrusting and everything.
Right.
So you can go from a hover to like blasting as fast as you can straight up and then like stop dead
Yeah,
and hover
that-
and then take something out. I mean, it's
yeah, Crispin was doing like stalls, like really high up in the air, and like falling in free fall, and then like coming out of it and shooting somebody and flying over a giant statue's head, and it's all pretty ridiculous.
if you invest
cool.
the time to learn to fly the Warhawks, it does look pretty fun. I was watching Sam play for about 30 minutes.
I played the
and
beta some, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, I'm not very good at it still, but I definitely look forward to playing it with people I know and my friends. I think that'll be really fun.
Yeah.
It seemed like watching Sam play today too that maybe it got another graphics pass too because it looked really good.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
The graphics are really good.
It does look really, really sharp now. So.
It doesn't look that much different. I mean,
Doesn't?
some of the maps, the one that we've been playing quite a bit is there's the one with all the towers coming out of the clouds.
Yeah,
and there's like
that's a really cool one.
The huge atrium that's all smashed open and it's got like all the plant life in it. So you can take a Warhawk through the broken roof and fly between the trees and strafe the guys as they're running through it.
That's where I
And,
was
like,
watching
there's
him do it. It's
there's
freaking awesome.
Once you get really good, you actually there's some almost like these set pieces that you can set off where you can see like a war going on and it's like up in the clouds in this huge area and you can crash in through and then come out the other side, or you can like hover at the end and then pull down. And
So wait, do you not hate Warhawk anymore, Garnet?
I never hated it.
You hated the Warhawks.
I hated the idea of calling it Warhawk. Yeah, okay.
But like, I think flying,
all right.
I think flying the Warhawks is the most fun thing in the game.
Okay, audience members, I give in to you. Warhawk is cool.
Victory!
I'm over my hard-on about calling it Warhawk.
Well, why do you have
win.
a problem with it being called Warhawk?
Because it doesn't have the single player part, and it has the on foot part. Because it doesn't have a single player, and it has all that on foot part, which to me wasn't Warhawk. To me, Warhawk was like the original Warhawk, and everybody said, "Oh, this is new Warhawk." It's okay.
it's just, I mean,
done.
all it is
You
really
guys
is
win.
they had a name that they owned the trademark to, with flying things in it, and that's what they applied to it. You know,
Okay.
it has absolutely nothing to do with the original game.
It really, but it's a cool application. I guess what changed my mind is watching Sam play the final version and not sitting there playing it and being frustrated. It occurred to me that, you know what, actually, a Battlefield game with Warhawks in it is pretty cool. And I watched him playing it, and he's learned well enough to fly the planes. But I mean, Sam, it's not like he spent hours and hours learning how to play it. So
You're not advocating the shitty console Battlefield over it now, then?
As you
Not
once
that I
did.
want to taint the argument as I present it.
console Battlefield was fun.
He's already admitted defeat. Let's move on.
I admitted defeat. Fine, whatever. I admitted defeat. That's fine, right?
Jeff, what have you been playing?
You know, not a whole lot either.
What?
'Cause I know. Maybe I
Oh,
shouldn't
you
have
were
been
you
on.
were in the woods.
I was in the woods. I was in the wild.
Reading aloud.
Reading out loud with my kid, Harry
Aw.
Potter. Yeah, isn't that sweet?
And it should be noted that you are a big Harry Potter fan.
I'm a big Harry Potter fan. There will
you
be
get-
no
Did you
spoilers
get to
as
the
I
part,
sit here.
Did you get the part where Cho Chang and Hermione make out?
Oh no! Can I go now to read that part? You know, I don't have that. I know. See, you've been sort of like hot for Hermione. I remember sitting in a demo with you like 3 years ago.
Well, I invested.
and you were hot for her, and she
I-
was like 10 then. It's like, what's with this guy?
I invested early. It was an investment for the future because I knew that she was going to turn out to be pretty hot. And look at it. She's
You're right. She's hot now.
looking pretty good.
But she's still
Guys,
legal
this
chain.
is really
I think
She's still 17.
I think the
17.
bigger problem is Ginny Weasley because none of you've seen the new movie. She still looks like a little girl, and like Harry Potter's a grown man, and they're supposed to like hook up or something.
Right.
So that's a problem.
Yeah, actually, I blogged about it, and I
This is killing me. This is so fucking killing me.
Shut up.
I blogged about having gone to the book. This is not a what you playing thing. I'm digressing here.
So what you're doing.
Okay? This is what
cool.
I'm doing.
This is
But
the whole-
I went to the.
How you been wasting your life?
I have been wasting my life. I was at the book launch, the midnight thing, and I posted.
Who are you dressed as?
Dumbledore.
Hermione.
Oh, you had the big frizzy red hair.
Yeah, I
and
did.
Nice.
No, but I was with my daughter, who actually, if you go to my blog, you'll see it has very bright red hair, and a bunch of blog comments were like, "Ah, your daughter's Ginny Weasley." But then there was one on there that was like, "I would so hit that."
Wow.
Excuse me, while I got my shotgun. She's 13 fucking years old.
Kids
Back off.
Kids grow up pretty fast these days, Jeff.
Hey, what's that hot
Not that fast.
What's that hot chick's Facebook page?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I just found out she had a Facebook page. I didn't even know. A former coworker alerted me to the fact that she had a Facebook page today. So I checked it out, and it says she's single and interested in men. No, you are not.
Is this the best place? To,
You're interested in Play-Doh.
Perhaps this podcast is not the best place to reveal that you're young.
If there are
Harry
any
Potter.
child therapists out there who want to contact,
To Catch a Predator, the One Up Yours edition.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Stay away from my daughter.
Oh
bastards.
dear, we may need Fraser Crane in here pretty
Wow.
soon.
Yeah, so anyway, so we were off in near Yosemite for
You can take
5 days.
You can take your DS or your PSP or your Game Boy with you.
I took my Game Boy. I snuck it along.
Surprise! You mean
I
there was
went.
Pokemoning?
I was a little bit, but we went with another family, and this other family has 2 boys who are like, basically our demographic. So they're like 15 and 8. And
That is our demographic right there.
and
That is
8.
and
I could be like the middle child. now.
and these kids were banned from bringing all electronics, including their Game Boys. So I heard this as we were going up, and I was like, "Oh shit! I brought
Were you
my
in the
Game
middle
Boy.
of
I
the night?
better
You
not."
were going over to their tent and going, Psst, "Hey, you want to come out?"
No, but I was kind of.
Game Boy.
It's kind of like my story last
It's
week
To Catch a
about.
Predator again.
Again, yeah, a little boy.
Want to touch Pikachu?
No, that's not Pikachu. There you go. That's Pikachu.
gotta catch them all, young boys.
Oh my God. I'm saying extra prayers tonight.
I think you grabbed Squirtle.
Oh dear. So I didn't want to game in front of them because I thought that'd be setting a bad example. We're supposed to be out in nature, sharpening sticks or whatever you do out there in the wild, throwing stones.
I think you should have sold quarter-hour increments.
Oh, I could have made a killing.
Yeah, dude.
You're
Seriously,
right.
like
You're right.
$5 every 15 minutes.
I do have to say, it was really nice to be unplugged. I don't know when the last time you guys have totally done that. John, you said you came into work during one day. You got called
summoned,
in.
Yeah.
See, that sucks. I was out of cell phone range, no electricity.
I'm going to the woods this weekend.
Are you?
Yeah.
Full on camping?
There's like bathroom facilities, and
See, I know
we more or less just sit around and getting drunk.
Okay.
But
Yeah, we had no
That's not a bad
bathroom.
idea.
it's kind of a lot like this, except we're in the outside.
Yeah, the thing about no bathrooms and no, kitchens, all that, after a while you're like, so this is why we invented houses.
Yeah.
I get it now. Civilization, not really a bad thing.
Wow.
I'm into running water more than ever before.
Yeah,
So-
squatting over a, poison ivy bush.
Yeah, that's more than we
Just-
need to know.
Okay.
So far, what you've been playing is a complete disaster.
Yeah, let's move on from me.
Someone bring it home. Come on.
I've got stuff, so I'm going to save it.
All right.
You go.
Well, no, I have some good stuff because I dumped a lot of time into Overlord over the weekend, and dude, it is a blast. That game is a lot
Tell
of
us
fun
about
to play.
the third hottest title of 4 weeks ago, some more, Garnet.
Hey, you know what? There are a lot of people out there playing it. I bet you there are a lot of people out there playing it. Number one, there are a lot of people who have been wondering why the hell people are talking about it too. Because
Well, I think for the reason you said, like it's like Dungeon Keeper, which was a really cool, clever game. There's not anything else like this really for
it's
360.
it's thought provoking because not thought provoking. I mean, it's like actually keeps you thinking because as you get into more difficult levels, there's 4 different kinds of minions, and
Right.
each of them have different applications, and you have ability to some limited ability to use them in tactical ways. Like you can set a post that they'll stick to and maneuver around and herd enemies into guys.
And you can make them pee on things.
Yeah, it's very funny.
It's very funny.
But this game is not
Really?
new. And I remember Mark talking about this literally a month ago on the podcast.
All right,
he really was.
fine. I'll just go drink a beer and pee on your games.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so I guess the other game I have to talk about is Madden because I've been playing the hell out of
That's
Madden.
new. And I've been hearing you lose every single game. Every morning, Brian Intihar, our previews editor, a.k.a. Sporto, he comes in, he's like, I beat Garnet again last night. Total domination.
Total domination, my ass. He has been beating me. He does play the game a little more than I do, and I will totally cop. I have not beaten him. It's usually like 3 or 4 point
It's close.
differentiation.
So
Yes.
you haven't beaten him yet,
No, usually what
but
happens...
it's not total domination.
I usually
I'm not following
wind up
that.
beating myself. Because I usually wind up...
Really?
Because he's been married a few
Really?
years now.
Kind of back to the... no, never
Yeah.
mind. Go on.
Yeah, it's usually a turnover or a fumble or something. Like, I usually hold on to the ball longer than he does and wind up doing something stupid. And you guys are like...
I'm done. I'm not saying anything.
Welcome to the 4th grade podcast.
Yeah.
Here at
You're fumbling and beating yourself off and holding on to your balls. I mean,
Wow.
Here at Thomas Jefferson Elementary School, we pride ourselves on the maturity of our kids.
Was that a Jeff impression?
No.
Was it?
It kind of sounded like you.
Really?
Anyway,
But you're playing the 360 version, right?
we're playing the 360 version.
the one that runs at 60 frames.
runs to
a
60
second.
frames, which is awesome. One of the big things that we've noticed is that I think that this is the biggest point about this game is that they've turned up the difficulty on all the levels, but they've turned up the difficulty more on the higher levels than on the lower levels. So Pro is probably where most people want to play. Even some people who used to jump to All Pro to get a game will find that they're happier on Pro because when you go to All Pro, it's demanding that you invest the time to practice and practice and practice and really learn the way to play football. You can't really Madden it anymore. You have to learn your plays, know your playbook inside and out, know how to make pre-snap reads, know what they mean. You really have to master the game.
I think I'm holding out for the DS version because they just announced it has paper football mode.
Oh, paper football mode.
Yeah.
Wow, that's gripping.
doesn't
Oh, you
like
mean
paper-
like the schoolyard
Yes.
paper? That's the game I want to
See?
play.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you my did you get Activision's Christmas gift last year?
No, they don't like me.
I'll give it to you. It's a ultimate paper football thing that has like a leather triangle football and
Nice.
leather.
Yeah, leather.
Wow.
A leather paper football, which
I
makes
think it may
perfect
be
sense.
pleather.
Might be pleather.
But that's not really the right way to do it. I mean, a leather foot. I mean,
it is kind of a little
in
overdone.
school, it was a piece of paper, folded up in a triangle that said "You're gay" in the middle.
Yeah.
That's what I'm used to.
Mine never said you're gay in the middle. Sorry,
I guess that was just me.
That was just
Yeah.
the one that people flicked at you.
yeah.
but they're different strokes for different folks. Anyway, yeah. So Madden's great. I think that it's really impressive.
Better than All Pro?
Light years.
Yeah.
The sad part is that did it really take 2K threatening them for them to like knuckle down and really, really get after the game?
Competition's a good
Because
thing.
yeah, I mean, you can really tell the difference. Like, you can actually run in this game, and the blocking up front. I mean, my biggest complaint about these games for the last 3-4 years has been how poor the AI and the blocking up front is, and it actually is like 85-90% fixed. It's awesome. It's so great to be able to run like a counter and watch your guard pull out and not get stuck on the center and the tackle and come over and make the block he's supposed to make. It's amazing. It's like, wow, that's so cool. You should have had that 3 years ago.
They have to try harder now.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
So, and you can order your Justin's ring.
That's cool. How much is that? Like $400? Is it like $400? How much does it cost?
You know what I'm talking about?
It's like a class ring for Madden, right?
Yeah, it's like it. So
Wow.
Justin's is the company that makes like a bunch of class rings, especially for high schools and stuff. There's a feature like when you bring up Madden, you have like these two screens that show video, and then like in the middle of the menu screen for Madden is this altar of rings, and that's like measuring your progression to have Madden gamer level. So as you advance through your gamer level, it awards you fancier and fancier rings, and these rings are potentially real because when you earn them, you can click a little button, go online, and order them from Justin's.
Oh
And
my God.
They're expensive. The way the
They
class
are.
rings
How
are.
much are they?
they're like
Several $100s.
yeah, like
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Serious.
How could you buy one of those and then wear it
go rocket.
and not want to put a bullet in your head?
Hey,
Look what I'm wearing.
have you seen like what Warcraft fans wear and stuff? All right.
Shit. I might be wearing a Warcraft
You
shirt.
probably
I'm
are.
rocking.
Probably am.
I'm rocking my Madden gamer level
Oh, I'm
20
not
ring
for once. Yeah.
And they do. And you know what's funny is they actually get big and obscene like Super Bowl rings. Like the top ones, they sent out the press release and you could check it out. And they had this thing that looked like a stadium that would be on your finger. It was like,
Yeah. Well, maybe it gets chicks.
I think it's slightly cool.
Maybe
actually,
not.
but we'll see.
I think it's one step beyond, dude. It's like yeah.
Maybe I own a piece of Final Fantasy jewelry. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Final Fantasy.
But you're not wearing it.
Yeah.
Or am I?
Or is he?
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh. And Final Fantasy jewelry is cool. I think Final Fantasy jewelry is way cooler and much more stylistic related to the game than
Madden rings.
made up. I'm a Sporto ring. You want to go?
So you would wear a Final Fantasy ring, but not a Madden ring.
Yes.
Okay. Jeff, would you?
I'm not wearing any game jewelry. Okay.
And Shane, you own.
I do own a piece of Final Fantasy.
It's a Final Fantasy pendant, right?
It's a necklace.
A necklace. Pendant's a more manly way of saying necklace, I guess.
Is it Squalls?
It is.
I knew it was Squalls because
John,
he's
how
gay
about
too.
you? Ouch.
Squall. Neither Squall nor I.
So what does it look like?
It's his lion.
I'm
heart.
not
It's the lion thing.
It's his
it's
lion
really
heart
cool.
insignia.
It is really cool, actually. I
I'm
have
not trying to ridicule you. I'm genuinely interested.
I'll wear
in
it. I'll wear it next week. So you
Okay.
can see it.
Dude, I have actually picked that thing up in Japan twice and like not somehow.
It was a
made to the
long time
counter.
ago. It was like 10 years ago.
It's actually very cool. It's
like
really
8
cool.
years
It's
ago.
nice. That's the other thing about the square jewelry is it's actually detailed and nice.
Well, these rings are well made too. Be nice to Justin's, all right? You hater.
Did you wear a Horde ring? Well, you're not Horde, are you? You're,
No, I'm Alliance. If it was a no Morlock ring, I might just wear that. Okay, see, that would be cool. I don't know what you guys are talking about. My no Morlock ring would be cool.
Wow.
And I know the chicks would dig it.
They have a big built-in market, right?
Okay, Shane, what have you been playing?
Well, we just
Help!
I've been playing some new exciting titles. We just got the full final build of Heavenly Sword. And everyone else has the demo, the very short demo.
The one that hit yesterday, right?
Yeah, and it's left people wanting more because it's like 10 minutes long. So we finally got the whole game, and I've played through the whole first and second chapters already on the preview build. So I get to start on chapter 3, and I really can't talk much about it, but I've already been surprised at some of the things that you can do in chapter 3, gameplay changes, different character stuff. Yeah.
Super tight. Watching it, super
Yeah,
tight.
you were, like Garner was like, I wish I had this build.
Super tight. Just
I mean,
all I'm saying.
go try the demo. Like, I think the presentation, that's one of my favorite things in this game. I've harped on like the Weta cutscenes; they're amazing. Andy Serkis does a phenomenal job as the main bad guy.
Yeah.
Like the lip sync, the facial animation, the eyes. I think it's the best thing, even better than Mass Effect's dialogue scenes, which are really, really good. I think this pushes the bar even further.
Do you think it's as significant as like a God of War?
I think it could be. I don't think it's quite as good. I don't think the combat is quite as refined and rewarding, but it is good.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's going to have the impact of God of War, but I do think it's going to have a really big impact just because of the presentation quality, and it's a game that has a very wide appeal. I think it's going to be pretty big.
Right.
Watching the cutscenes are surprising. Like you said, I'm not surprised that you brought that up because that was one thing that jumped out to me after watching that. I mean, I expected the action, I expected, the environments, although you do, like when you see the camera pan back in this game and they have these expansive, like bridges and castles and all these places, you're thinking, these guys did Kung Fu Chaos last?
Well, I also think the character models themselves are probably the most... Like, when you see her, I can't remember her name.
Nariko.
Yeah, when you see her, and it zooms in on her face, and, like, her skin has, like, a translucent, and you can see, like, little freckles and pores.
Yeah.
And then she has those, like, scratches on her legs, like, just like... She's not this, like, perfect image of woman. Like, she's, like, a little bit beaten up, and things are ripped.
Yeah.
And, like, she doesn't have a perfect
she's
complexion.
Almost scary.
And
she's almost scary. She's definitely not this hot chick, as you watch her and play, she's very intense and scary, and it's a very weird story. And her little sister is this other character, and she's kind of strange. I compared her to like Bjork meets Gollum.
She's the one in the demo that's kind of the...
Her name's Kai.
Yeah.
That is an awesome description.
Bjork meets Gollum.
And some of the problems,
fits.
some of the problems they're in the demo, like there's some flickering textures, some weird shadow problems, a lot of screen tearing. A lot of that's been fixed in the build that we have. And so I have seen a few instances of screen tearing, a few frame drops, but it definitely is better graphically than the demo. So
Wow.
I'm looking. My weekend when I'm not in the woods is going to be me playing Heavenly Sword.
Majorly jealous.
Yeah. The other thing is last week Sony made the Ratchet and Clank Future demo that was at E3 available to the press. We could just download it. So last weekend I was just playing that demo over and over again.
It's a lot of shooting, huh? I mean, I put it on my debug too.
I don't think there is I had a big argument with a friend of mine because I traditionally in Ratchet games for the first few levels use my wrench a lot because I wait till I get better guns because the guns you start out with aren't that great.
That's how I played it.
And there's parts in that demo where you have to use your gun on these flying enemies, but really a lot of it you can get through with just a wrench. So I didn't feel there was that much shooting, and it's very much a demo level. It's not indicative of what the real level design is going to be like. It's very directed. It's teaching you how to use different weapons as you go through. There's not much exploration. And there's a lot of rail grinding, and in some ways it kind of feels almost like a modern Sonic level because you're out of control a lot. You're like bouncing on things, and it's scripted. But I'm still very impressed with the graphics and the gameplay, and it does feel like Ratchet. And since there hasn't really been an HD platformer of any merit ever, like 360 hasn't really had one. PS3 definitely hasn't had one. Just to be playing a familiar platforming game with really good graphics feels kind of new and weird. Like there's a point where you're like, oh, I haven't done this before. But at the same time, it does feel a lot like Ratchet 1 and 2.
Well, if you're listening and you haven't seen it, Kath came by and grabbed my debug a couple days ago, so I'm sure we have like the whole thing on GV.
Yeah, there's actually a segment going up on the One Up show today about both Heavenly Sword and Ratchet and Clank, where I probably say a lot of the same shit I just said. But
you can see it.
You can see it in motion.
Yeah, that's cool.
The other big thing I just randomly checked out yesterday, it's Xbox Live Arcade, the long-awaited new game from Jeff Minter, Space Giraffe.
Oh my God, you have it?
I have it, and... it's just Tempest, which I really didn't think. I didn't think it was just going to be Tempest. It's just Tempest.
But Tempest is a good game.
Tempest is a good game, and the graphics are like Freak Out Central. He obviously ate like 5 bags of mushrooms and made this game. And the music, it's techno as you would expect. It's basically Tempest 4000. And like I love Tempest. I think Jeff Minter is a creative guy. I think he's very funny, and there's a lot of humor in it. Like the first level is like a reference to Jay Allard. I played it at another level. And like,
this is out on arcade? We could buy it now?
No. If you have a debug, it's on PartnerNet.
How is the first level of a Tempest game?
It's called like Allard's Playground, or all the levels have names. They're all like Microsoft in jokes, and depending on your performance, like these phrases come up. And like at one point, it's like you're a bit shit, mate, and I was like, is it Simon Cox telling me this? I don't even know. But no, it's fun, but it is really just Tempest. But if you like Tempest, then it's Tempest, and you'll like it. So there you go. That's what I've been playing.
That's cool. And I caught some grief, so I wrote this down so I would not forget to come back to it. I caught some grief about Guitar Hero 80s because since we had the first release on the review, that kind of fell in a
You're the
weird
big hater.
spot.
You hate it.
Come on, no one's loving that game right now.
What's wrong with it?
What's the song list?
It doesn't have the specific songs that would be in the game.
Come on. Have you checked? Have you played the game?
I have.
Okay, and what did you want out of an 80s?
Maybe a little more rock, a little less synthy pop.
Like you might have wanted maybe Bon Jovi, maybe or Def Leppard, or
it doesn't cover
or Van Halen.
No on those two. How about is there any grunge stuff or?
That's 90s.
That's 90s.
Yeah, that's 90s.
Well, okay, not grunge. That's the wrong word. Sorry. In the 80s, we called it post-punk stuff? Is there
Like,
any of
for
that kind of
instance-
stuff? This is just probably going to be too obscure for this
You
game.
want, you want
like
some
Husker Du,
You want some
Minutemen.
You want some sugar?
No.
Sugar.
No.
There you
There's
go.
no sugar.
However,
on
there's-
Guitar Hero 80s.
That stuff was all totally guitar
No,
oriented.
it's much more top 40 oriented. You get like some
where
flock
there
of,
actually weren't
No, wait,
guitars
wait.
being
there is
played.
Flock of Seagulls,
Yeah.
right?
It is not
See,
top 40. It's
don't-
like junk 40.
Like what? What are the songs? I haven't seen the songs.
We get some. We've got the beat because that's
Go-Go's. Okay, I'm all right with that.
That's super rockin'. Dun 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 dun. Dun. Oh my
They
god!
could have picked better Go-Go
You know,
songs.
maybe this product,
Limousine. Oh, we pulled Homestar Runner song.
perhaps this product was aimed more to mass market, not so much the hardcore,
No,
you know, like
I fully
Headbangers
disagree.
Ball kind of demographic that you represent.
I fully disagree. Dude, this thing reeks.
Garnet and Ricky Rackman go back a long
He
way.
mentions Ricky Rackman in his review in EGM.
Hey,
You do.
tell me you did not watch that show.
Of course I watched that show, but I was more about 120 minutes, or as it was called in the 80s. What was 120 minutes called in the 80s? MTV.
MTV Fuck?
No! Anyway.
I would have watched that.
It had a different name.
Starring Kennedy.
I forget. No. Anyway. You're just a hater. It's good.
I am not. It is okay, but it is not what it needed to be. Come on, dude. It's 30 songs. It's not that great. At a reasonable price, it's worth getting, but not full price. And have you heard some of the Have you heard some of the cover people they had singing? Like the dude singing the
yeah.
Scorpions is terrible.
Ultimately, does it really matter since this product is on its way to extinction when a rock band debuts?
It's not on its way. Guitar Hero 3 is in fine shape. Guitar Hero? Did you see the four more new songs?
So is the
announced
Brachiosaurus.
today? Whatever. You're nuts.
I'm still liking Guitar Hero 2, and I think the song list on that is amazing. The fact that they put Primus on there is fantastic. The fact that Thin Lizzy is on there, that was people who did their
Dragon
homework.
Force. There
Yes.
was like a lot
One
of
of the-
fuss
one
on
of the
the boards.
four-announced.
Yeah.
Number of the Beast also
And then
coming in
there's
there.
a thing on YouTube where someone's playing the Dragon Force song. It is insane.
You know, Bryce, dude, aimed me like right off the bat this morning. He's like, "Did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that?"
Everyone I know who's like is into Guitar Hero was like, "Oh my god, there's a Dragon Force song!"
I got to
And then
tell
you
you, though,
watch it, and it's like you have to play that thing so fast, and it's all over the place. Like the guy playing hard on this YouTube video. I mean, it's like literally like that speed all the way through.
Have you watched the video of the Muse song from Guitar Hero 3?
Which song is it from Muse?
I'm not a Muse expert. I don't know it, but I watched the.
I'm a Muse fan.
Huge Muse fan.
You didn't go to the concert.
Yes, I did.
I didn't see you there.
I was there with my wife
It was good.
and my brother.
That was good stuff.
It was awesome.
I was only recently introduced to Muse by Alice, and I do like it. It sounds good, but I don't know the songs well enough, so I'm not going to embarrass myself. But you should check it out. We had one of the Neversoft dudes play it on Expert, and he makes it like almost like 98% on the correct. He finishes the song, but like at 90%, he's like, I'm like, oh my god,
They have some complicated riffs.
oh my god, it's crazy. Anyway. Stick around. When we come back in just a minute, we're going to move into Sequelitis. We'll also have message board stuff from John. You won't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by the Entertainment Consumers Association. A single voice may not be heard, but a collective voice cannot be ignored. Speak up and keep your favorite games on the shelves. Join the ECA at www.theeca.com.
All right, and we're back, and as Shane put it, we're ready for a message board renaissance. With John here, we have message board threads. Who knew? What do you know?
It's a renaissance because you're acknowledging them now.
Hey,
Hey,
those are
hey.
those are the only boards I post on. In fact,
Yes, they are.
they are.
Your Miyamoto interview was pretty popular that you posted.
It was. I wish it was longer, but it was a fun time.
you don't troll the other board, Shane?
No way.
Me neither. I just lurk. I don't post.
I lurk until I get annoyed enough, then I post.
Yeah, but you're a 2:45 lurker, right?
He's not a lurker. I'm quarter to three.
Actually, but I mostly post in the non-games thread
Yeah.
board. I post on like the TV and movie stuff.
Really?
I posted in the Fallout fan
The
site.
Fallout.
I saw you posting on the Father Dowling Mysteries message board.
That was Matlock.
Something I've noticed about Fallout message boards is
Yeah.
that every time any scrap of information about Fallout emerges, there's this onslaught of just like it's like an automatic response from the
It
Fallout
is.
community. Oh, it's fucking
well,
bullshit.
that's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they doing that for? The graphics look really awesome. Well, that's just fucking stupid. Because Fallout 2, I liked it when Fallout looked like shit.
Yeah, I have to not go there, John, because I've been at war with the Fallout community on like 3 podcasts now in a row.
I don't know the Fallout community, but I don't like them.
They're angry.
Yeah, they don't like
All
you
the
Shane.
time.
Yeah, they don't like you or anybody,
Apparently, we mixed up Fallout Tactics with Fallout Brotherhood of Steel.
and they
Yes.
hate you for
And
that.
it was him. It was Garnet.
Was-
He's always confused. He gets everything wrong.
Wait, it was not. I was not the one on the hook for that.
Well, regardless. So what are the message boards talking about there, John?
Well, before we go into this, we have 2 things that we've got coming up, and I guess yours is first, right, Jeff?
That's right. We're
Yes.
first. Legendary Thread, the podcast, is going to be at BlizzCon next week.
Live.
Live.
Whoa.
August 3rd, 2007,
Can
from
any-
the Anaheim Convention
Can
Center.
any attendee just come and watch?
Yeah, and they could put on a headset and say,
I'm a priest and I'm level 57 and I'm looking for a group.
I don't know if I'll be able to go. The epic mountain cat costume making for my cat is not finished yet.
Really?
Yeah.
But you can wear your squall
anybody
jewelry.
but Shane can come.
All right.
Yeah. So we're going to be podcasting live from there. There's going to be a couple big announcements from Blizzard.
Who's going to be there? Legendary Thread? Because like sometimes the legendary threaders there can be a lot of you.
There can be. It's going to be the kind of core group of Damian Lynn, Karen Chu, Sean Malloy, and myself.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a couple Blizzard folks sit in and talk to us about stuff.
Nice.
Where's
So, yeah.
BlizzCon?
Oh, and possibly, this is a particular interest to One Up Yours fans. Luke Smith is going to sit in.
Whoa.
He's going to be at BlizzCon, and we're going to try to get a headset on his massive head and have him talk to us. Yeah,
I think BlizzCon is down in the OC.
it is.
Oh,
It's
that's
at the
right.
Anaheim Convention Center,
Ah.
across the street from Disneyland.
Well, then after that, on August 25th, which is the Saturday night of PAX up in Seattle, we'll be doing One Up Yours live. Also, possibly with someone's huge head.
Oh, so
Between-
he's just a whore.
Well, he is now. I thought it would be something special, but no.
I stole your thunder. I'm sorry.
Fuck you, Jeff.
God damn.
I'm a little worried
Sorry, sir.
about the live One Up Yours. I'm afraid someone may try to assassinate us.
So we're gonna the setup for One Up Yours is going to be. If any of you have been to PAX, they have these panels in the main room, which is like there's a little stage where people they do a panel discussion, and we'll be doing the show as a panel, but where it will be the 4 of us talking, and we'll hopefully bring some guests up and maybe get some stuff from the audience. But we are interested to know what you would like to see us do. Actually, that's not the way to phrase it.
What would you like to see us wearing?
What would you
dear.
like us to tackle live on stage at PAX? Obviously, we'd like the Penny Arcade guys to come on for a little bit.
Yep.
And anyone else. I mean, there's going to be a lot of game companies at PAX this year, so we're going to try and see who we can drag up on stage with us. But
And if you can come up with something intelligent, we're also considering maybe doing a little
that was
open.
a little derisory, on it.
You could possibly.
You could possibly do something
Good God.
intelligent.
So let me see.
For a
It's,
change.
so it's okay to put a sticky at the top of the message board to tell people to post intelligent things, but then it's not okay for me to say, come up with something intelligent to ask us.
We assume that our listeners are intelligent, right?
Silence.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking about doing a little open mic segment as well. So
Yeah, that'll be fun.
yeah.
Should be fun.
So we have an hour at like 7 o'clock. We're on before the bands, I think.
Right.
So we're the warm-up act.
Get drunk.
No pressure,
Get
boys.
drunk during our segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there you go.
And then the
I'm looking forward to it.
and
It's
then
gonna be a hoot.
Yeah, and then the mini bosses will rock your
Oh, those guys
asses
are
face
are
off.
tall.
They're tall.
Very tall.
Really?
You'll see.
That's it. Not exactly what you expect out of a band description. Those guys are tall.
No, they are.
I thought you were going to say loud or.
They're
good
loud and
or-
tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So there you go. So
message boards. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of our editors posting this week, which seems to be proving pretty popular. Your thing was very popular.
We can start posting more.
People did
We're,
like-
I mean, we're all very busy, but we're not busy. We're going to try to post.
Exactly. So Sam actually posted. I hope I'm not stealing news thunder. I've not seen the news list today.
No, just roll it. We'll go
All
through
right.
it.
There was a Reuters story yesterday, about Target only carrying Blu-ray this holiday. Did you guys see
It
this?
got picked up by a lot of.
Got picked up by a lot of
yeah.
people. So this led to a discussion about, well, what's Walmart doing, which led into the, I don't know if you saw, there was a lot of rumors that Walmart was going to be backing HD DVD. Then Little Buster 99 linked to a PC Mag story that debunked the Walmart thing, which was apparently that there was a story kicking around that they'd commissioned Fuya, which are a Taiwanese DVD manufacturer, to make HD DVD players in the $249 to $299 range for this holiday, and Walmart have now denied that.
Well, and also the rumor where those DVD players were like HD DVD players were really like features stripped out. They didn't do 1080p. They didn't do a lot of things people expect them to do.
So this thread turned into a little bit of a Blu-ray versus HD DVD, and a bit of discussion about how apparently the porn industry is jumping on HD DVD. Did we know that?
You know, the porn industry is more prevalent there right now, but that doesn't mean that there aren't porn Blu-rays.
It doesn't matter. The porn industry is downloadable over the internet.
Right.
I mean, the days of people getting their porn through DVDs is done, right?
Yeah, the titles that are moving HD discs are new releases. It's not,
I don't even think I want to see my porn in HD.
That's true.
You don't?
But yeah, but it's not.
No, I don't think so.
It's
Really?
not porn or catalog titles that are pushing next-gen discs at all.
Right.
It's new release content. And because of, Blu-ray has all these exclusive studios that HD DVD does not, the majority of big name releases are exclusive to Blu-ray.
It brings up the topic, but I mean, the Target thing's not that big. I was in the Colma Target like a couple weekends ago, dude. They don't have any.
This came up, actually, one guy was saying that they're doing all their site allocation stuff in Target stores right now, and you can see where the Blu-ray display is going to be, and it's tiny, apparently.
Well, that's no change. Right now, they have a handful of titles. That's it.
Another big announcement is Disney, about 2 weeks ago, announced this big thing where they're going on tours and malls and setting up kiosks for Disney Blu-rays, showing off several titles. Like, this starts very soon. You can go see the Cars Blu-ray and another one of the Blu-rays that isn't out yet, and you can go play with them and see how good they look. And they're trying to inform consumers about what Blu-ray is.
You know what? Amazon's in the right space because they don't have to stock a bunch of individual stores, so they can stock the entire line of Blu-ray and HD DVD.
It's true.
And they've been cleaning up.
When Casino Royale came out, I kept going to Best Buy to try to find it, and it was always sold out because they only would get a few copies and they would sell out. And it seems like a lot of people are just going to Amazon to buy these discs.
That's what anything I bought on Blu-ray has been from Amazon. Like Planet.
We're talking about movie playing on game consoles, and I got to tell you, the experience on PS3 is way better than it is on 360 for one reason. It doesn't sound like a vacuum cleaner running in my house because the drive is so noisy on the 360, and when I throw in a disc in my PS3, it's like so much quieter.
But I mean, the Blu-ray versus HD DVD battle is, it's continuing to be kind of crazy, and people are wondering, when Universal announces that they're no longer exclusive to HD DVD, at that point, everything's over.
Yeah.
And
you think?
Oh yeah.
I don't think it. I think the numbers are way too early still.
No,
on
the numbers
both
are.
sides.
The numbers are. If
there's not enough adoption.
If you look at Toshiba's numbers where they don't count PS3, then it seems like a good battle. But when you start counting PS3, then it is not a good battle anymore. And as soon as Universal does change, then it's all over. But people are assuming that Microsoft and Toshiba are giving Universal money at this point.
Aren't they talking about dropping the price on the 360?
Already done.
They
box?
did.
They did.
And they're giving away 5 free movies. Much like
$20 less
Amazon,
now.
yeah.
It's $179 for the HD DVD add-on, and you get a similar mail-in rebate offer to get 5 HD DVDs.
Yeah.
I just want to download all my stuff. I don't want
really?
I don't want any
getting there
discs.
as well,
I don't want
yeah.
any discs of any kind.
You're in the future already.
I am in the future. That's what I get for being older.
Has anyone?
I'm there
this
already.
is getting completely off the boards,
Yeah.
but have any of you tried the Netflix download?
Yes, I have, and that's why I'm saying that.
Yeah, is it good?
It's awesome. Yeah, you if you have it's only in certain certain regions right now.
Right.
Netflix has enabled the Watch Now thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you just go to Netflix.com and there's a lot of kind of shovelware movies up there and stuff now. They don't have all the ace except in the classic section. The classic section is unbelievable. They have Hitchcock movies, all the great old musicals. I could go on and on about the great movies on there, and you just click a button.
Tell us more about your favorite musicals. No.
What are you saying? There's some good ones. Come on.
Okay.
And you just
Here's the question: how do you play them on your home theater?
well, I'm watching them on my laptop, which is quite a good one. So, but
But
I'm
that's
sure
not like
there's a,
that's not
I'm
like
sure
playing
there's
on
a
your home
way.
theater. I mean, the deal.
If you have an Apple TV,
I don't.
you can-
there's all kinds of problems with Apple TV. Let's not even open that.
Here's
can
the
of
thing.
worms.
The thing, though, is I could be at home and I can't fall asleep. I don't know what to do. I don't feel like playing the game. I could go to Netflix now, and there's
Right.
a library of hundreds of movies. I just click a button, and I'm watching that movie in 30 seconds.
Or if you
That's
want to
a
go to
pretty
sleep
awesome.
quicker, there are some other things you can go to online that might be able to release some of that tension.
Jesus.
yeah.
Don't project now, John. Maybe that's how you fall asleep.
All right, back to the board.
Back to the boards.
I watch musicals.
Well, you know what?
Yeah,
You're going to get one more
excellent.
laugh. Netflix actually might be picking up because I actually had never had Netflix membership, and I joined because I got a PS3 because I wanted to get Blu-rays.
So because you have joined Netflix, it
No,
might be picking up.
No, I think that as more
you should buy
people,
some. You should buy some shares in Netflix. Garner just signed up.
as more people buy PS3s and want Blu-rays and recognize that the Blu-rays are way more expensive than DVDs, Netflix looks attractive again.
I don't want more discs in my house of any kind, period. CDs.
No more things.
No more things. Go on.
So much for Going Dark, says Going Commando 117. David Jaffe is announcing, or probably has announced today, what he's up to.
or something.
Or something.
something.
Yeah,
Speculation being that it's all PlayStation Network stuff.
which is what he wants to do now.
Yeah. Reckless X thinks that Twisted Metal HD is the obvious first game from that studio.
Apparently, he denied that. He says that is not what he's making right now.
So that must mean it's confirmed.
We'll see.
Because they're using the Calling All Cars engine for everything, right?
I'd heard that.
Or the Warhawk engine, or some
Something.
hybrid of the two, or something like that.
We'll see.
J-Rock asks, why are MGO and MGS4 separate games? Do we know the answer to this?
I don't.
In the one-up show that came out today, Mark McDonald asked that question to producer Ryan Payton. He doesn't completely explain why, but my reasoning is I think they just want more revenue, and it's been a very expensive product.
That's the way the board went. Although there was some interesting conversation along the lines of people speculating that MGO might be a PSN title.
Well, there's that speculation. There's also the speculation that it could come out for Xbox 360 as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now they're not talking. They're not confirming any of these things.
Okay. So Sean Elliott, back in end of June, kicked off a one-up Battlefield 2 games organization thread, which is still going. It keeps bumping up to the front page. So if you're into BF2 or other online games, there's now a thread where people are organizing getting together on that.
And you want to be griefed by Sean?
If you want to be griefed by Sean, if you want to be on his team and backed into a corner and killed or bombed or ridiculed, then good luck to you.
What do they do? They hump your corpse or something?
Teabagging?
Teabagging, that's what it's called.
There you go.
It's more, I think he just makes silly voices at you. I think.
Yeah,
He's big on that. Dr. Tran calls us out for hyping Rock Band so much with a thread, the hype about Rock Band as written by someone who is actually in a rock band. Last week,
he's like, we're talking about that game, so I'm talking about my shitty band, guys.
You guys talked about this a lot because I think some people are saying, why is everyone assuming that everyone wants to play the drums? And I think part of I can kind of see where he's coming from in this, and that in a real band, because you guys were talking about the availability of singers versus people playing the guitar and everyone wanting to play drums. And he was saying, in real life, there are plenty of singers, but most of them are terrible. And you can find a guitar or bass player anywhere, and drummers are really difficult to find.
Well, drummers are hard to keep a hold of,
right?
Which is why that was so great.
And he thinks that getting a band together in Rock Band will actually be just as hard as in real life, based on what real bands are like. But what he does, I think the thread kind of degenerated as people were saying, but this is a video game where people do things that they don't do in real life.
And that are hard to do in real life.
I seriously
don't. Easier
I don't understand this guy because he hits on two things I hate. He's like why do people want additional ways to play this game and extra content? Why would you want that? Because it's fun, you retard.
And the other thing is that one of the many, I remember when I was in bands 10, 15 years ago, one of the reasons that drummers were few and far between, not only is it is a difficult thing to play,
right?
It's also the most expensive thing to play.
Right.
And
they're hard to carry around.
And they're a pain in the ass to carry around.
Ass.
Because you don't just need a drum kit, you need some fucking station wagon to hump everything around it.
Right. But I was in bands too, and tell me this was not the same thing with you. At every break, in any rehearsal, somebody other than the drummer would go onto the drum kit.
It's fun.
Because it's fun to bang on things.
I'm not a drummer, but I had a Muppets drum kit when I was 3 until my mom threw it out. I used to fucking hit that.
Wow, that
thing.
explains a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, Rock Band's awesome. Shut up.
I agree.
And for those of you wondering, John can definitely rock the fuck out still.
Can he?
I can still rock.
Yes, he fully can, dude. You stick a guitar in that man's hands, and he can rip off some riffs.
But I think the drums in Rock Band, I think what you were saying last week is true. I think people that will try the drums partly because they just don't have the opportunity to normally.
Well, and now that we've caught wind of the bundle pack that they're potentially selling, and
EA's denying that. The $200 thing that was on Amazon, In fact, Amazon have yanked it now, I think.
I wish it were true.
$200 for the whole shebang.
EA's saying, no, I don't think so.
It would be like a substantial saving. You'd be saving like $75.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope it comes true.
Think all the people that play drums in Rock Band are going to sleep with your girlfriend the way they do in real bands?
I hate those bastards.
Fucking drummers. There was a very long thread. We can maybe get into this if you want to. Like, he picked up on the BBFC thing in the UK again, and has Rockstar gone too far? Which actually, I was worried this thread was going to go in just a censorship direction, but what it actually turned into is a discussion of tolerance. I don't know if any of you guys saw it. And people were talking about Saw and Hostel 2 and just where the line is in terms of what's acceptable. And, you know, I thought that it would degenerate into a, you know, oh, fuck the government for trying to control things. But what it actually was a bunch of gamers essentially saying, well, you know, I don't want it to be too much. And one of the BBFC a description of it wasn't that it was violent, but that it was, I can't remember the exact language, but it was like this. It was talking about the sadism of the game and the fact that there's no sense of remorse, or it's just it's part of their objection to it was how cold it was.
But, like, you know, we know what happens at the end of this game. Perhaps you get your comeuppance. Perhaps if you do all these terrible things at the end, you know, the character gets what's coming to him. Like, so I think there's definitely a double standard. As someone who saw Hostel 2, we've talked about this a little bit on the podcast. I think between what the MPAA is doing and what the ESRB is doing, it's completely different standards.
Look, I can't even go as far as Hostel and Saw because I do not go watch those movies because just what I see in the trailers is enough to make me know I don't want to see that.
I mean, torture porn, you know, it's not for everybody.
But what's it rated?
It's rated
rated porn.
Well, it's rated R.
Rated R.
It's rated R, and, like, yeah, as I said, Hostel 2. If that's R, then anything is R.
Right.
I mean,
And
really,
it caught a lot of shit even in the mainstream press for that.
Right.
So let me draw reference to what I always draw reference to in this example, which is the first 15 minutes of Saving Private Ryan. Which, if people celebrate that as a great dramatic movie and let all kinds of people watch it, including their kids, they have no business talking about video games. That is the most disgusting shit.
A better example would be The Passion of the Christ. I mean, that's the ultimate example. It's like, that's basically torture porn too, but because it's religious, it's totally okay for kids.
The Passion of the Christ is not set forward as like this great dramatic. Saving Private Ryan.
Are you saying The Passion of the Christ was not set forward as a great dramatic piece?
It was very. Yeah, I am. It was very controversial, and it's certainly not been seen by as many moviegoers and movie watchers as Saving Private Ryan.
You might want to check your box office numbers, dude.
Okay,
Irrespective of that, but what you're talking about is something that has some dramatic effect. The objection that this is the BBFC, the UK rating that banned it, and they wouldn't give it the 18.
But the whole point of the beginning of Saving Private Ryan is to
finish when you're done.
I'm sorry.
Was that that it's the callousness of it. It's not for dramatic effect. It's the objection is in the just the sadistic nature of it. In Saving Private Ryan, they are trying to portray how horrific war was, right? That this was a terrible thing that we sent our 20-year-old guys in the 1940s to die for you to live the life that you live now. This is what they experienced. Manhunt is a sadistic fuck killing people.
Well, but no, not really. I mean, the plot of Manhunt 2 is, like, you were this test subject and this evil corporation did all this shit to you and they're doing terrible things to people and you're killing them because they're trying to kill you. I mean, it isn't like, oh, it's fun to just murder people in gory ways. That is not the plot of this game. And I think it's being singled out and people aren't really understanding it and it shouldn't be banned.
So now we're talking about it on a philosophical basis as opposed to simply just the violence level.
Well, yeah, because, like, violence, you know, you can't just look at the violence, you know, in a vacuum. Like, there's a reason behind it. What are the motivations behind it? Like, what happens to this person?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm alone, but I feel like a lot of times when people are judging video games that are ignorant to video games, they are judging them simply on the visual violence. They're just taking a look at that, boom, that's knee-jerk reaction.
The other thing that came out in this thread was that people are upset also because this is the first game that Rockstar designed around the Wii. And that it's one of the few multi-SKU games out there right now that was actually built from the ground up with the Wii in mind.
And I've played the Wii version. It's considerably better than the PS2.
And there's a good chance we may not see it. And the other thing is that in the BBFC objection, the Wii controls were not mentioned once. So a lot of people speculating that it was the physical actions that was at issue. It wasn't that they objected to. It was all about essentially the mindset that it was imposing upon the player, and that you had to commit these actions essentially for no purpose apart from to be sadistic.
But that's really crazy because there's so many movies where that's the intention of the director as well. Maybe you're not physically pushing a button to mimic those actions, but you're still made to.
What's his name? Eli Roth or whatever made a big deal out of that with Hostel 2.
Well, and like in Manhunt 2, like you don't have to kill the people in these specific ways, but you do have to kill the people. And a lot of games you're killing people. And I think a big part of this is because like one of those tabloids that murder a few years ago that was blamed on Manhunt 1, a kid killed another kid, and they blame Manhunt. It was like, you know, in the one of those British tabloids. And I think that's secretly the reason behind all this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's shady, and I hope the game does come out and is not edited, frankly.
So it was, I mean, I was, like I said, I was worried this thread would just turn into one of those, blah, blah.
But it got intelligent.
It actually turned into a debate on tolerance of violence and what's too much and what's, you know, what we should be, you know. So I think there's some people on there definitely that they shouldn't censor anything. You know, if what's good for one thing should be good for another, and intent shouldn't come into it.
So let me ask you a question. My reference to Saving Private Ryan is because I think that a lot of times in the general population, the view of video game violence is not looked at in the sort of depth that we're talking about it. So the reason I always use that example is it's a touchstone people recognize, and it's just a lot of graphic, gratuitous violence right there in your face. Do you think that we're going to get to a point where the general population will actually look at video games intelligently, like what we're doing right here, or is it always going to be, oh, that's just gratuitous violence, it's wrong, but it's just a game?
Which was the Medal of Honor that had the same scene?
That was...
God!
Yes, I played it. The one where you're diving between the
when you actually when you're doing the beaches.
Yeah, you do the beach
Is that
assault.
Frontline maybe.
But I did play it. I played it on PC.
Because I thought that was at the time, and probably there's not many people have done it since, of actually trying to convey the same idea in a video game, which is just it didn't come close, but it did show you just the position that these guys were put into. And I can remember at the time there was a lot of press from, you know, getting that game in front of war vets or kids that had played it, because there's no blood in the Medal of Honor games. It's just the, you know, the action and the visceral nature and the bullets pointing. But a lot of people were like, until they'd actually been in the game and seen that they got an appreciation of what it was really like and how hopeless it was being one of these thousands of guys sent up a beach against, you know, these minigun things where they just didn't stand a fucking chance of living.
Right.
And, you know, Garnet, I thought in Saving Private Ryan that part of what made that scene so great was because it was so horrific. And so many movies in the past where war scenes or gunfight is kind of romanticized. And here, just the fact that, you know, they open the back of the boat and these guys are just dead like that with no flowery music, nothing going on, was like, oh my God, this is a nightmare.
My point to it has always been, look at how well that worked. Look at how important it was to the drama of that movie, and games have every right to be able to reach you in that same way.
Yeah.
Well, I think some of them can. I think the point with this Manhunt thing is that
Manhunt does it like Saw and Hostel. If there's a space for Hostel and Saw, there's a space for Manhunt.
Right.
Whether I want to play it or not.
Well, I think part of the answer to your question from before, Garnet, is are games ever going to be treated this way? I think, yeah, because eventually, I mean, I've said this before elsewhere, all the older people, myself not included, are going to be dead. I mean, seriously, I mean that for real. Like
Jeff Green will be living on in perpetuity.
I mean that I have a separate deal with Satan, but I think that. You know, the only people left on planet Earth are going to be people that grew up with games. And so that whole bias will be gone, the way it was with rock and roll and jazz and comic books, you know.
Yeah, I think until ratings are enforceable, we're going to continue to have these problems.
Yeah. That's a good point, too.
Yeah.
So what, you just think there should be no rate? I mean, what do you...
No, I think ratings should be enforced.
Yeah.
At what level?
At the same level of film.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, a sketchy level.
That is a sketchy level, because every time we talk about it, I get called, oh, you're wrong about this or you're wrong about that.
Right. I mean, but you need some sort of rules in place to make people happy, to make people think it's okay.
Right. But I mean, the Hostel thing, we keep bringing it up, but to me it's classic, because did any of you guys see the movie once by any chance?
We almost went and saw it in Santa Monica, and we didn't, because it seemed like it was me and Ryan. We were looking for a movie to see, and it sounded like a date movie.
It is kind of a date movie.
And then we read your blog about how it's like a really pleasant film, and it's actually playing across the street from my house. Should I go see it?
It's an amazing movie, but you know, it's kind of a musical, which
it's also
went into earlier in the podcast.
And kind of a date movie. Right.
Kind of a date movie. But,
so what does that have to do with violence?
My point is, that movie is rated R. There is not a better, like, just sort of sweet date movie love story in the theaters this year. And, we took our 13-year-old daughter, and she loved it. She bought the soundtrack, and it's rated R.
The same rating as Hostel 2.
The same rating as Hostel 2, because there's like 3 or 4 times in the movie where the main character says fuck.
Is there a scene where...
And not only does he say fuck, but he says it in a thick Irish accent, so it actually sounds like fook.
Is there a scene where someone is castrated while still alive without the camera cutting away? No?
Well, sure, there's that.
That's in Hostel 2.
Yeah, no, there isn't that.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Oh, no.
I am so glad I did not go see that.
It's pretty good.
And so, doesn't that say volumes there that Once and Hostel 2 are getting the same rating?
Saying fuck a few times.
Yeah.
If you say fuck more than twice, you get it.
Well, we've said fuck 3 times.
This
in the last
podcast is this is NC-17. This is adults only. Anyway,
oh boy.
Anyway,
so what else you got for us?
I think we should move on to what we want this middle segment to be about.
So the sequel stuff.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Gran Turismo specifically, John and I, because I'm a big car fan. John is a big car fan, and I am itching to do something about Gran Turismo. And the difficulty in coming to Gran Turismo is, how do you make it interesting again? How do you make
it's beautiful
to talk about it, right? And the knock on to that was, how do you make it if you're developing a game and you're up to like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, how do you make it interesting? How do you keep coming back to it?
It's different for Gran Turismo. I mean, because it isn't like there's no plot.
Is it really?
Well,
different?
yeah. I mean, if it's not too hard to talk about Metal Gear Solid 4 or Grand Theft Auto 4 because they're narrative-based games with characters and stuff. Gran Turismo, it's cars on a track, and it looks better, but it's still cars on a track.
That's the root of the problem that we were talking about, was that ultimately what you have to come down to with GT particularly is it still relevant? Because if the only hook is that it's better looking than the last one.
But it's a simulation. Like, you can say the thing about Madden. Like, why do we talk about Madden this year?
And this is what I was thinking when Garnet was talking about Madden earlier. I was thinking, but I was done with that game like 5 years ago because I'd already at that point played Madden for years. So why should I care about this one?
Well, and it also relates back to the Tony Hawk issue. And the joke is you can always skip 2 or 3 Tony Hawks and be like, oh yeah, it's gotten a lot better because the incremental increases year over year. And in the past few years, they keep trying to rebrand Tony Hawk. It was Thug. It was what was the last year? Project 8. This year, it's called
Proving Ground.
Yeah, they're trying with that game to make it seem more different, make it seem relevant again.
I also think that EA's Skate has something to do with
that's true,
this one being noticeably different, because the original Tony Hawk was up against, there was the MTV one, and there was there was all kinds of shit out there.
But really, Tony Hawk's 1 through 4 were pretty similar. And then after that, they realized we better start mixing this up. People aren't willing to buy this every year, so they were able to come up with that and do something with it. But yeah, with Gran Turismo, do you really need anything besides beautiful cars on a track to make you excited about it? I don't know.
But I think that therein lies the problem in that, I mean, this is sort of the challenge faced by Forza, and the challenge that, Need for Speed Pro Street is, what did we work out that one was? 15? Need for Speed 15.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think
I like that, Jeff.
I think that game in particular is in danger for me because Need for Speed is a very popular series. It always does well, but they went a different direction. They made it more of a sim, and really, there's probably better sims coming out around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For instance,
Gran Turismo 5 and Forza 2.
But Gran Turismo 5 is not going to be anything. Is not going to be the same scope. Gran Turismo 5 is going to be like what we're going to talk about it in the news section. But it's a downloadable game. It's
online only as well.
It's online only, so it's not going to be the same scope. And I think the thing that is off-putting for a lot of people having played a lot of Forza is that when those games are very simmy, and Need for Speed is going more sim, but it's not going to be sim, right, John? I mean,
no way. I mean, it's just giving the illusion of being a sim. It's not. I mean, Forza is about as dry as it gets, I would think.
Yeah, and Forza.
I would think even GT may not be as dry as Forza was.
I think you're right on target there. I don't think Gran Turismo will be quite as dry, and that's probably part of the appeal. I mean, anyone can sit down and play the simulation. I'm putting simulation in quotes mode of Gran Turismo because if you spend some time getting accustomed to it, you can drive all the cars. Mm-hmm. And Forza, if you're driving with driving aids turned off, it's brutal, absolutely brutal and pretty dry. We were going to say about sports. We were about sports. I think the thing with sports has always been this: that they keep iterating every time a new console hardware generation comes along, such that the first version is merely like an upgraded version of the final version of the previous generation. Then they switch over to the first real version for this next gen, and then they start iterating on that till they get it right. I would hate to be Madden next year because this version is really, really, really close to being the right version, and they're only a couple of years into the cycle.
So I have a question for you guys about I think maybe Madden it applies to the most, but something that I've noticed with the Tony Hawk game versus Skate is that Skate is the first game to challenge the mechanics and the viewpoint that genre is played through. Like all of the skating games have if you looked at any of them just for a split second, the setup on all of them is exactly the same. And Skate, they've actually taken it so that it's not about the guy on the board; it's actually the skateboard itself, which is the central focus. So they've actually completely changed the way that. By moving the camera like that and changing the emphasis, they've changed the way you interact with the whole world.
It's a gamble, though. I mean, because it looks very different and it's very refreshing, but at the same time, it lacks the pick up and play fun of Tony Hawk, which is the most popular series that everybody has played.
But what they've done is they've identified that there are other ways to play a skating game.
Right.
Madden, as far as I can tell by not really playing it, but by observing it over the last 10 years, is Madden has looked exactly the same since the Genesis game. It's two lines of guys on a pitch looking as it tapers towards the distance.
They don't play on.
I'm English. Field, whatever you want to call it.
But
I watched 12 minutes of David Beckham play the Galaxy on Saturday. That soccer has arrived in the US now.
But John, like a few years back, 2K, or maybe it was still Sega at this point, they decided we're going to have first-person football and change the way you do football. And you know what? It was no fun at all. No one wanted to play that.
Right. They were doing it before that. They tried it before that.
There have been different versions of that kind of thing.
So what they have, to answer your question, if you dig into Madden, the innovation on that level was the Superstar mode, and the Superstar mode has gotten considerably more refined as they put it together. In where this year it's very playable. It's very playable where you actually are seeing the game from the perspective of whatever position you're playing. Brian and I both enjoyed that in this latest version, and actually, like, that's one of the things we're like, okay, this is a feature that was not there before and now is there. I don't know if you could play like football from the perspective of the football. I mean, wouldn't that be like the same, like Skate?
Well, no,
I haven't seen Skate. I'm really curious.
Yeah.
By the way, you made me curious now to see Skate.
Right, because when you see Skate for the first time, you're like, okay, that looks different. Because what it is the board is in the middle of the screen.
Well, and the camera angle is completely different.
And the camera angle's right on the ground with it. And for a lot of the time, you can't see the character's like head and shoulders. Like, it's just his lower body on the board. Because everything is how his feet are interacting with the...
That's pretty funky.
With the actual board
that's
itself.
That's kind of cool. Jeff, you're grimacing. I'm
not grimacing.
Cool.
I'm just puzzled. I don't know what are you buying. What are you getting out of that?
It's a much more realistic simulation of actual skateboarding. But the question is, does that mean it's more fun or even as fun as Tony Hawk?
So is part of the gameplay actually the balance part? I mean, like,
I don't know. I've not played it enough, but I mean, I was just intrigued that they have actually taken what has become a convention to the point where we're now on, when you include Downhill Jam, 10 Tony Hawks. Mm-hmm. And someone has come along and go, okay, well, maybe that's not the perfect way to do it. And I'm just wondering whether there's a lot of genres where we are just seeing iterations on exactly the same thing. You guys have been playing Medal of Honor Airborne lately. I mean, like the first-person shooter genre and the various, like, subgenres within that are worse than ever. I mean, like, there's a bunch of shooters we saw at E3. I mean, if someone said last week that most of the games coming out of E3 were basically first-person shooters.
So I want to differentiate some here, though, because a first-person perspective narrative-driven game, i.e. BioShock, is one thing. But a first-person shooter, i.e. Call of Duty Medal of Honor, is
I think
other
you're giving
animal.
BioShock a lot of leeway there because
I hope I'm not giving
shooter.
I hope I'm not giving it leeway. I'm so optimistic about that game.
I think if you think BioShock is System Shock, you're wrong.
Well, they've actually come out and said specifically it's a shooter.
Yeah.
They're trying to dismiss any other expectations.
I think they're trying to undersell it so that when you get into more meat of it, you'll be more surprised by it.
Maybe.
I mean, trying to compare like iterations of yearly simulation franchises versus FPSs. It's not exactly the
totally different.
It's not the same comparison. And like, sure, there's a glut of FPSs, and like, are you going to play all the World War II games? No. But
one thing you see in Medal of Honor Airborne is like an attempt to improve upon the old practice, which is just running down corridors. They're very much embracing the whole idea of being airborne. So you drop into a operation zone, and there are a number of different objectives. And as your commander tells you what to go achieve, then you're going to go take out those objectives. And you're not being herded down a corridor. You're not even being told, I need to go down this path to get there. You drop into, say, a villa in Sicily, and it's the villa in Sicily. If you need to get across town, then you need to get across town.
Well, let's keep bringing this back to where we wanted the conversation to be with, like, what makes the sequels valid or what. So it sounds like you're advocating that that Medal of Honor is actually moving the needle on the Medal, because it's what, Medal of Honor 6?
Yeah, but it's been a long time coming, and there are some new things like the parachuting. I think the bigger problem facing these sequels is downloadable content, downloadable games. Like when you can download a game like Warhawk from the store,
right?
Well, why should people spend $60 for a new Madden every year? I mean, really, if it's only a little bit better, why? Why is it every time?
I tell you, on the knock on that, I was sorely disappointed to hear them already say, "Oh yeah, we're already thinking about Rock Band 2." Really? Games like that, I don't see why you need to
Surely
reinvent
Rock Band could just be an indefinite product.
Well,
isn't it
yeah.
World of Warcraft for music, essentially?
But the thing Rock Band
Yeah.
can add, they could add a new instrument. I mean, there are things they can do,
But why do I need a whole new client? Why do I need to go buy a new client? And on the developer side, why do they need to invest the money in the product cycle of building a new client when they could just keep giving me content?
The scary thing is, I mean, EA, they turn off the servers for the old Madden when the new one comes out, so maybe they'll turn off the servers for Rock Band when the new one comes out.
Dear
I mean,
God.
it's a nightmare scenario, but it could be real. And because eventually it's all about making money, and these companies want to sell their $60 games because they make a lot more money off that than off a $20 download. And as long as people are buying these yearly upgrades.
Right, that's the difference with World of Warcraft. Is
I
obviously
think that
people are paying a monthly fee.
1 second.
So
I don't think that they necessarily make more money, because ultimately, if you keep doing those $20 downloads, there is a point down the road where you're making a whole lot of profit and a whole little bit amount of investment.
But if Madden, sells 4 million copies every year, why not keep making it?
I think to that point, it is a tale, because they want the constant spikes.
Well, music and sports are very different here. Music, you're talking about adding more consumable into the same front end. In Madden, the only consumable would be, what do you do? Update the rosters. A roster update isn't enough, and you don't have you can't keep coming back, every few weeks with more content.
Right, and we've talked about diminishing returns. If you look at the way Tomb Raider sold when they were an annual franchise, and it was a general, downgrade. But as long as it's successful, there's no reason for publishers to
and
change.
Madden is really both critic and analysis proof. They just put it out and everyone's going to buy it. I mean, I don't feel like they really even have to do much. That's just a kind of a no-brainer gift for dads and sons, and that's always going to sell millions. They don't even really have to try, do they? We critics and guys on the online forums are going to bitch and moan if it's not a particularly good version, but everybody else is just going to buy it anyway.
Well, let's talk about some of the franchises that do iterate a little too frequently and the attitude towards them, because people have a habit of talking about particularly action games and compare them to movies.
Okay.
But I think the attitude increasingly with things, particularly like the Tom Clancy games and Splinter Cell especially, is that the simile is actually more television than it is movies. In fact, and a new Splinter Cell is essentially this year's season of Splinter Cell.
I mean, famously, the window between number 2 and number 3 was 10 months. It was 2 in 1 year, and that was, I thought, completely insane.
Too much.
I mean, even if you're a huge fan, do you really want to buy another one 10 months later?
But in terms of consumable media, say a Splinter Cell game takes you 10, 12 hours to beat if you're just playing the single player game. That's like a short TV season every 10, 12 months. I mean, is that really the way that we want to consume video games at that level of, where we grab a franchise and hope it lasts as long as possible?
Well, and how do you get those games? You get them by having 2 different teams make them, concurrently. And that happens a lot, actually, now. And you're probably not getting as good of a game if, the real creative force spent 2 years making a real sequel.
Well, it's interesting what happened to Half-Life. They had with the episodic.
The purportedly episodic.
Well, basically they've said never mind on that. When we first did a cover story on Half-Life 2 Episode 1, we said a new Half-Life every 3 months. It was like a cover line. But now they've basically said, well, no. We can't do that. And the reason is because they realized that they wanted to take the time to make these episodes, which they're now basically expansions, worthy of having the Half-Life name, which I think even if we're suffering by having to wait longer, in the long run, we're just going to get better play experiences that are going to be less disposable.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the current marketplace, what we really want are giant, epic expensive, cool-looking games, take a long time to make, and when they come out, it's an event. And we also have now downloadable stuff. So if you want the smaller games that don't take as long and are easy to get, well, make those downloadable games. You know, like I think that's kind of where it's going.
Yeah.
So I would say, as a building on that idea, is that the Xbox Live Arcades and the PlayStation Network games have taken the spot that episodic gaming could have taken, which is the smaller chunk, more affordable. Sit down and play with it for a while, and then move on to the next one, sort of experience.
Yeah, and I also feel like this generation, the yearly iterated sequels of non-simulations and non-sports games are kind of going away. I mean, we don't see as many of those anymore, and there are a lot of new IPs. Like at E3, it actually struck me that like a lot of the games people are excited about are new IPs, and that's different than it was 2 years ago.
I thought it was much more exciting, however good or not it looked. But I thought it was much cooler to see Assassin's Creed than it was the next Prince of Persia.
Exactly. Yeah,
I would have been bored if it was yet another Prince of Persia.
So Call of Duty 4 caught a lot of attention, and it is an interesting animal because it is definitely iterative. It is definitely building on what they've done before, but they've left behind World War II.
That was the key thing.
Well, and
is that the key thing? Is it enough? Because is it really going to be different, the fact that you're carrying a more modern weapon, and instead of facing an M1 and a T60 or whatever the old tanks were, you're facing a new tank?
My argument is that's half it. The other half is that this team didn't make Call of Duty 3, and they actually spent 2 years plus making this game.
In that case, what does Call of Duty mean? It's not a because like you threw this out on the boards and only got a couple of pages responded before we actually did the show.
And I apologize for not getting that out sooner, guys.
But one of the things that came up in that thread was that one of the reasons that people kind of like sequels is familiarity with a universe or a set of characters.
Right.
Something like Metal Gear, and even the Tom Clancy stuff to some extent. It's the excitement. It's like when this year's season of 24 comes on, and you know there are things to expect.
Did you hear about the female president?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
what?
So there are things they can.
Female president.
Hold on, what?
Female president.
Really?
In 24 this year.
Do we know who? Is it like a?
She's not very hot.
But what they can do with 24 is within the framework of things they've set up before, then the dramatic tension comes from when characters that you've grown to like get killed off or when they spin things. And you can see franchises where they're doing that. Call of Duty is a different kind of franchise because that now represents, a set of values instead of a game universe? Because Call of Duty to me, until this year, meant good World War II shooter with maybe 3 or 4 different characters all ultimately coming to, but what that's turned into with Modern Warfare is that it now means something else. That brand, it's now a brand, not a franchise.
Right. It's almost like a Tom Clancy concept now. Yeah.
So it's like we're seeing different levels of what a sequel means within video games as well.
Well, with the Tom Clancy games, I mean, don't you feel? I feel with those the way I did about Tomb Raider at one point. Now, Tomb Raider has kind of had this nice recovery, nice renaissance, but for a while there, I just wanted to say, like, slow down, stop it.
Yeah.
Take a year or two off and wait, and make the next one a bigger event. If you get a little bit behind, like I did with the Tom Clancy games, now I was into the first Splinter Cell, but now it's like, how many has there been, and how much have I missed, and how fast?
You brought up Tomb
your
Raider.
pace is making me feel like you're not taking the time I wish you would take.
I'm a huge Tomb Raider fan. How would you feel about a game that was a Tomb Raider game if, for instance, instead of the entire game being Lara Croft, there was another playable character introduced, and
it was called Angel of Darkness, and he looked kind of like Todd Zuniga.
Yeah, I played Angel of Darkness.
Really?
But I mean, now that it's come back, how would you feel about that? What do you want to see out of a Tomb Raider next? Do you want to see all Lara Croft? Do you want to see it expand? Do you want to see Lara have more to do, or do you want to see an expansion of the world that Lara is existing in?
I don't know what I want to see. I want to see the developers wow me with their creativity.
I also think you want to see a sequel that doesn't look just like the previous game, and that's the problem with Graw 2, for example. Everyone loved Graw. Then Graw 2 came out, and it was kind of an expansion pack.
That's a great example.
It was a good game. Everyone liked it, but did it really feel like it warranted
we're also
sequel?
starting to see sequels that don't actually have any acknowledgement of plot progression or overall franchise progress. Like Graw 2 is a continuation of what happened in Graw 1.
Right.
What happened in Graw 1? I don't fucking remember. It was a bunch of guys shooting stuff in the desert. And Graw 2 is that again. And even Rainbow Six, they try to keep some idea of the actual Rainbow guys and the whole story that goes behind it. And you bring up Splinter Cell, the latest Splinter Cell is moving the character along, but the story has been so ambiguous and vague for the last 4 or 5 episodes that do you even know why he's like an outcast now? And why does he have a long hair and he's like throwing people downstairs?
How much of that is
shooting
a
them?
function of what Shane was talking about, of ping-ponging between 2 different developers?
Because there's brand integrity because of the mechanics,
Right.
that's probably the problem. They're focusing on the technology and moving the technology forward, but there aren't enough people focusing on the core story that is being told over these games.
I mean, how much artistry is behind a sequel that comes out in 10 months? I mean, really.
But they manage it. But again, coming back to TV, like this is season 6 of 24. I'm sorry to keep coming back on 24, but it does work.
But
Good example.
But season 5 of 24 was unbelievable nadir. It was they jumped like 5,000 sharks. I mean,
Right.
it lost.
Right.
It
They
lost.
jumped a bunch of sharks, but there are people who are responsible for the overall canon of 24, the way there is with Lost, the way there is with Heroes. These are going to be essentially annually iterated 20-hour pieces of entertainment that we're getting on the same kind of schedule as these games, where a lot more care is taken over the content than there is with games, ultimately.
Well, I mean, like
Except in this last season of 24.
I mean, I don't want to. I feel like we're harping on Ubisoft a lot, but another game like the Blazing Angels thing that's coming out this fall as a standalone game.
Nobody asked for a sequel to Blazing Angels.
And if you do a little research, that was originally an expansion pack and became a sequel. Interesting.
I mean, what do you see in the PC world like this?
Well, I'm trying to think. I mean, an example of doing it right, I think, and I hate to always use them as a good example, is Blizzard. They maybe they are to the other extreme.
Well, they always made their expansion packs feel really worthwhile.
So
I'll give you that.
therein lies a big part of the PC culture, which is the expansion pack. So instead of bringing a sequel, because the console world has been very oriented towards building a whole new SKU and a whole new product to bring to the counter, whereas in the PC world, it was quite okay to say, you know what, we want to keep building on the story, but let's just do an expansion pack.
Right, and so we'll lower the price $10.
Yeah.
We'll lower your expectations a little
Use
bit.
the same engine.
And then when they deliver more, like Blizzard did with Brood War and StarCraft, you're like, oh my God, this is an amazing value.
And the
they were
Command and
promising
Conquer
me just
series.
sort of like a 0.5 version, and in fact, they gave me all this stuff. So... And, look at the hype that StarCraft 2 gets. I mean, when you wait and you make your games be an event, then the gamers are going to feel like it's an event themselves.
Right.
If you start treating it like it's just a product, like we just got to make our stock, our stock members happy.
Right.
We got to make our numbers.
Well,
then the gamers can feel that they have a good bullshit meter for when they're getting a real game or they're just sort of getting product because you're trying to make
just as
a
a
quota.
fan, I like sequels to be like 2 or 3 years apart because then you really want it and you remember, I used to love that game. I'm looking forward to a sequel. When it's a year, you're not really ready for it. And as much as I would love for Ubisoft for Graw 3 to be an expansion pack instead of a standalone game, I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Can you imagine? Like, I remember the days when sequels were unexpected and surprising, and like we'd go to something like E3 or a new trailer would hit, and you imagine seeing a new trailer for something, and the camera would pan up, and you would see this character, and you'd be like, "Oh my God, they're doing a sequel to this game! That's fucking awesome!" Remember when games actually had that kind of surprise? Like when Metal Gear Solid was first shown,
Right.
It was like when they first revealed it, and they didn't really tell us what it was, and it pans up, and you see Snake, and then it does, and you're like. Oh my God, that's fantastic! And has anyone managed to capture that
There's
since?
a funny quote. I'm not sure where the interview was, but it was with the Army of Two producer at EA, and they were like, "If this game is successful, do you think you might make a sequel?" And his answer was like, "It's for EA." I mean, like he was kind of joking. It's like, what do you think?
Wow.
John, what do you guys think about the Final Fantasy series? And because in a way, that's kind of like the Call of Duty thing, right? Where
Right.
Final Fantasy is just a set of values rather than
Exactly.
a universe.
Yeah, and then they've had different teams working on them and completely different game systems, different worlds, everything. And what they're doing with 13, it's gotten a lot of flack. The idea that they announced 3 games with the promise of more. But I think it's a smart decision because it's a really valuable franchise, and the games are all different. There are different teams doing them, and I think it's cool.
So is
I
that
love-
an anomaly in what we're talking about here?
I think
Final
so.
Fantasy?
I think so.
I think it's pretty hard to point at another franchise that has done what the core part of Final Fantasy has done, which is to bring a new story and new environment and new world. But with I love how they find little things to tie it together. It's like interior design.
There's like
It's like really weird
thematical
analogy,
ties.
but there's like these thematical ties that hold the whole thing together. Like Sid.
Right.
That is really cool that helps glue the whole thing together.
And they never did direct sequels. The first one they did was Final Fantasy X-2, and it was a little disappointing, and it didn't feel like a real game, a real sequel, and it wasn't a real sequel. And they kind of let you know that. So.
Jeff, to answer your question about PC, I think one other element about PC that's unique is that unlike the console hardware, PC hardware is always rocketing forward. So PC iterations of new games and sequels always have the fallback of we're building for the next generation hardware because there's always the next generation hardware in PCs.
Right.
And that really, think about like your real-time strategy games. How often have they just built a new strategy game because all the new shit they can do because they have more powerful graphics, more powerful processors, new AI, all the things they can do because the hardware is more powerful.
I think one of the things, we're talking about the bringing the excitement back of a sequel. I think this is one of the reasons that every time there's any kind of show where Nintendo's involved, that the Kid Icarus rumor emerges. It's not necessarily that Kid Icarus is the right game for right now, but it's something that would be a genuine surprise, and it would be new, and it would be, they haven't done anything with this thing for when was the Kid Icarus game?
I mean, the Game Boy Kid Icarus originally 87, and the Game Boy game was 89, 90. But yeah, it's been like 15 years.
But the last time they did something that was that significant was when they first showed when Metroid Prime went 3D, and it was like, wow, you have taken this franchise and done something different with it successfully.
Well, and we're so used to IPs being hoarded out multiple times. When they doesn't happen, and then a sequel comes back, you're amazed. And we rumored in EGM about a new Bionic Commando, and we heard it's real. So I think when that does get shown, it's been 20 years or whatever, so it's going to make an impact.
Okay, I'm going to bring this thing to a close with the granddaddy of sequels allegedly this fall, which is of course Grand Theft Auto 4, and how is it going to hit with the audience?
Hit with, what do you mean?
How is it going to connect? Because they are doing something different, right?
Yeah.
But are they? Is it really different?
It doesn't. I mean, the interesting thing about GTA 4 is that GTA is now a brand. This isn't a sequel. It has absolutely nothing to do with the previous trilogy and its associated titles. There are no characters the same. The only things that are the same is Liberty City itself.
So are they not, as far as we know now, not acknowledging other characters from other games at all?
It's complete table swipe. It's like, it's set now the same way that GTA 3 was essentially set now, but there's no, the Salvatore family aren't there. There's none of the crime lords are there. It is the only thing that's the same is you'll see parts of the culture of the world, but none of the characterization or the narrative.
It's an interesting choice they made there.
So they just
seems like they could have.
That's the question. How well is that going to click?
I think it's a really smart decision, actually, because it's a new generation. A lot of people who didn't get into the last games because they looked bad will actually play this one because it looks good. And it's a strong enough brand where they don't have to bring back characters. It's not like fans, I'm not going to buy it because that whore isn't in it who I loved so much in GTA 3. No.
And the families weren't really. I mean, they were well acted and they were well scripted and everything, but you didn't really relate to any of the crime lords. Or they were part of the. It was so broad that it was just a culture to the game that you were a part of.
I'm not saying it's a bad decision, but I find it an interesting one because it seems, just in theory, it could have been an interesting Easter egg for older players to drive by in your car and see that place you used to go into.
Oh no, that will happen.
There.
Oh, that
will happen.
Okay.
And all the billboards are products that you've seen before.
Okay.
What's different is that the narrative and the characters of the previous trilogy, which was 3 through San Andreas, as far as 4 is concerned, don't exist.
I see.
Well, and I'm proud of them because, both Vice City and San Andreas were so heavily based on existing, pop culture things, and that was a touchdown for people. And this one, they really, made their own story from the ground up. They're not relying on your knowledge of a movie to enjoy this game. So it's more ambitious for them and as storytellers, and I appreciate.
But they are out on more of a limb the way they were with GTA 3, where now it is. Because it actually has the most in common with 3, where they really were going out on a limb and saying, here's this world and you're this character and just go wild with it. Because they're not taking that world and spinning it into Miami Vice now. But I think just the fact that it's a character with a completely different background and a different set of values
But to me, that in a way, they are then doing a lot of what we're talking about.
Exactly.
They're taking these chances. It feels like an event.
So
because we all have this anticipation and the suspense. Are they going to pull this story off? What is the story?
Yeah.
So here you go. What does it
Who
take?
is this character?
What does it take to bring a sequel back? Sequel after sequel? It takes taking something that you've established, that's valuable, that people buy into,
and doing something unexpected with it.
And being willing to walk it out on the limb.
Yeah.
That's it. Stick around, guys. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with the news. We've got Comic-Con. We've got some videos to talk about. And, of course, we have those big NPD numbers with Patrick kicking in. We'll be right back.
You are listening to One Up Yours on the One Up Radio Network.
This One Up podcast is brought to you by Doritos Unlock Xbox contest. Visit www.unlockxbox.com to turn your dream into the world's first user-generated Xbox video game.
All right, we're back and ready to hit the news, and we have Patrick joining us. He's been downstairs enjoying maybe a couple of adult beverages.
We just pulled him out. We pulled you out of the bar, dude.
Adult beverages, what is that supposed to mean?
Do you have proper ID, son?
I actually got my California ID 2 days ago. Thank you very much.
Rock
And you've been using it.
I have.
You got to put that thing to good use, right?
Yeah.
Of course. What else would you use it for?
Thank you, Steph's.
So what do you got in the news world?
I mean, it's Comic-Con week. It's MPD week. It's two sort of big things, but not really that big of things. Comic-Con week, though, two big announcements. Lost, which Ubisoft announced a year ago.
And we all wondered how it's going to work. And
I mean, does anyone else here watch Lost?
Yeah.
Lost is like my favorite show of all time.
Did you have
all
Lost figures
time? Of all time.
Of all time.
Well, of all
next
time
to
for you,
X-Files.
it's
Next to X-Files.
It's half of all time for you.
I have a lot more time, and let me tell you something, son. That's not the greatest show of all time.
You called him son.
he's a kid.
There's a little biological.
There's a bit of a.
There's a biological dispute going on.
So which team at Ubisoft is actually making this game?
It's Ubisoft Montreal. So there's a good team behind it. They haven't talked about it a whole lot. The trailer that was released is basically just like you are a random character on the Lost Island, which actually has backfired against the Lost TV series before because they did something where there was a book written by a Lost character not talked about on the TV show, and none of the Lost fans liked it. So
right, and how about Nikki and Paulo too?
Nikki and Paulo, as soon as they were disliked,
they were buried
spoiler,
alive.
Killed off in the show. So
they were buried alive.
It's interesting because the Lost game has to incorporate enough, because you're not going to get anybody that isn't watching the show to pick up the game because Lost is so encapsulated in its mythology. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to be a random person that's like, damn, this is a great third-person action adventure. I'm going to pick it up. That's not going to happen.
It's also a very serialized show. Do we know where the game is taking place in the chronology of the show?
Not at all. All we know is that it's just a character on the island. They showed Sawyer. They showed Locke. And they kind of hinted that Jack was in it. And there's really not much we know what's going on.
How did the characters look?
Bad.
Okay.
The character models do not look very good. I think the idea is mostly to cash in on the idea that the mythology people are going to pick this up as an ancillary more to the story that they're not going to get through the show because they don't have enough time. But at the same time, I don't buy that's going to be enough.
So it's Ubisoft Montreal. Is it going to be Unreal Engine 3? Because that's what they've been using recently up there. That's what they did for Vegas. Is UE3, right?
I don't think they announced.
I don't think they've talked about the engine at all. It's mostly just it's an ancillary game. They're working with the creators. There was a lot of hints in the teaser for fans of the show. There's stuff thrown in in the middle of the trailer. There's a flash to a computer screen that you have to stop, take a screen grab of, and decipher what it means.
If Damon Lindelof's involved, he's a big gamer. If he's actually speaking with them and helping guide it, then it stands a chance of being pushed in the right direction at least.
But are they saying this is going to be a real game for gamers?
Yes, they are.
Or is this just a shovelware for TV fans?
To speak to what John brought up, both Damon and Carlton Cuse, who are the executive producers of the show, have said that the sense of adventure and suspense that we strive for in the show is also captured in the Lost video game. So, they are basically adding their endorsement to the game.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think the other Ubisoft license might lend itself a little better to a game.
Yeah, pretty much the breakout hit in the past year has been Heroes. It's on NBC. It's a comic video game influenced series. It's been enormously successful, and everyone's just kind of been waiting for someone to snatch up the license. And at Comic-Con, Ubisoft finally announced that they are taking the license. It's coming to next-gen platforms. It's coming next fall, and all we know it's a third-person action adventure. Big surprise.
So I'm really surprised that with these two games, Lost, which is a Disney-owned franchise, why it's such a convoluted route. I mean, I know that Disney works in partnership and they work with THQ and stuff. I'm just surprised that they didn't control it more through the new ABC studio, and why something like Heroes, which is a Universal property, isn't being done by one of Sierra's studio. Why it's not being controlled from within?
Interesting. Maybe the production companies behind these shows, which aren't owned by the networks, actually control the license. I'm not really sure how it works. It's a good question.
The Heroes story actually was very was not confusing, but left me kind of like scratching my head because of the fact that they're specifically not tying it into the story arc of the series.
Don't you think that's better though? Maybe.
And that's what's
I'm not sure.
Ultimately, that's what the Lost game is going to do too. There'll be connections to the series. It's like, I mean, that's what any of the Lost alternate reality games do. They tie into the series, but you don't need to participate in them to know what's going on. But if you do, you get additional information that contributes to the overall mythology, which is, I think, what the Heroes game is going for. But they're being very clear about that from the outset.
Well, the weird thing about Lost is that the show is still so in the middle of these gigantic mysteries. How is the game going to end? when we have no clue what's even happening.
Let me fill you in. It's not.
Yeah, you kind of imagine the Lost game probably won't reveal a whole lot about the overall.
Either that, or they create something for it. So it's they're not going to reveal what the black cloud thing was in the video game. Or maybe they are. Maybe they've decided to drop that in the show and there's not an important plot point and take it. Or maybe they'll invent something like that. That is some of the mysterious thing that's a creation of the what are they called?
Dharma Initiative.
Dharma Initiative.
Well, I mean, the game comes out we've been waiting for a long time, but it's coming out in early 2008. The show starts up in February, so really Ubisoft has an opportunity, if they've planned it correctly with the creators, to tie in the next season with the game, where it's a logical leap from there, where you don't need to have been watching it, but you could bring it into that point.
Well, I wish them luck, but my previous experience with TV show games like Alias and 24, usually not so good.
Has there been a good TV show game?
Well, actually, I would argue that 24 was a good TV show game. Not that it was a good game, but it was a good TV show game because I enjoyed
the writing. The writing was good because it was actually
exactly.
It was written by one of the scriptwriters that works on the series. It was not a terrible game, but it was a very average game that had a great storyline that filled a lot of plot holes.
Exactly.
This is true.
But the X-Files game back in the day was kind of like
the what?
The first one?
The X-Files.
And you know what else was really good?
PC.
This is going back a long way.
Yeah.
Interplay's Star Trek 25th Anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
That one was good.
The original series one?
Really?
That
Not
was
bad.
really, really good.
Yeah, that was.
That was a long time ago. I mean, Star Trek's up to, 30-something years now, so it was a while ago.
Sales past me, but I'll believe you.
But yeah, I wish them luck on these. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, there's a lot of potential. It's just rather there's not a lot of precedent for these being particularly good. So.
All right, let's give you what we really came down here for, which is the NPDs, big announcements, big numbers.
One thing to note about June is that it's a 5-week month.
Okay.
Which hasn't been noted very much elsewhere, which means the way the NPD works is that each quarter they go by 5 weeks.
Okay.
So we're seeing these numbers that look like everything's increased for the month, but actually, as it turns out, they really haven't done very much.
Well, you broke that down. You broke that down to a per week average.
Yeah, it's a per week average, and as a per week average, machines like the PS3 that looked like they had a much better month, and as Sony bragged, had a much better month, as it turns out, really had a worse month because by per week, they've actually been selling less.
And I think there was some speculation that maybe the price drop figured into this set of numbers, but it doesn't really at all, does it?
No, because the June the price cut didn't come till the week of E3.
That's right.
Just before, so the price cut has no impact. And actually, the price cut impact is so minimal that it's July doesn't matter. A price cut or a SKU rearrangement, which is really what the price cut is going to impact July.
Right.
August is the numbers that really matter.
Yeah, if anything, the people fearing a price cut might have held off in June because they thought maybe at E3 there'd be a price cut. So.
Well, so Patrick, you and I were talking about this when I was over at your desk, and I used to be a district manager for Electronics Boutique. And let me tell you what, July. This is the odd part about the price drop is it kind of shows you how badly they needed something to happen because there is no worse time in video game retailing than the middle of summer. There's nobody in the store. You can't make your numbers. You're dying for sales. So yeah, they lowered the price. That's why you would motivate the sales. But at the same time, even if you lower the price, you just don't have the people there to make the numbers happen.
Well, even internally, like, there are a lot of people that, like, in the last couple of weeks have picked up a PlayStation 3. Like, I bought one.
Yours
Garnett
truly.
bought one.
Absolutely.
Skip bought one.
I know.
Like,
Sean
Sean Elliott. A lot of people
yeah.
have picked one up based on the E3 confidence that,
Right.
like, it has a great lineup coming up. And
it
no
does
one
have a
would
great
argue
lineup
that.
coming up.
This is anecdotal, but yeah, I know 8 people in the last week and a half who bought a PS3. So, I mean, obviously the price drop worked in some fashion.
In some fashion, but, like, one of the things that I argued in the story that we ran this week, like, examining each of the consoles, was like, yeah, the PlayStation 3 has a lot of great games coming this year, but a lot of them are new IP. And no one would argue that new IP is not a good thing for the industry. The argument is that, is new IP going to sell the system?
It doesn't have the horsepower at retail that a known quantity does, is what you're saying.
But I believe Gears of War shows that a new IP has just as much potential to be.
That's a really good point.
A bestseller.
That's a really, really good
But
point.
back to the MPDs, I think what's not surprising is the continued dominance of DS and Wii, and the continued dominance of Mario Party 8 and Wii Play and Pokemon. I mean,
Mario Party 8 just blows me away that doing so
Doesn't
well.
it really?
Because it's such a bad game.
You and me standing over there at the kitchenette, and you were like, "This game is so bad, even my kids
I
don't
play
like
it nearly every weekend because my kids like it because it's simple, and I fucking hate
I thought you
it.
said your kids weren't. I thought even your kids weren't enjoying it that much, though.
No, my oldest boy likes the rowing mini game
Okay.
and the ones where you like throwing the balls at the mushrooms and stuff. The really simple ones, but then the whole. I mean, we talked about this before, but the whole board game conceit and just the bullshit pull it out your ass rules that it comes up with.
But John,
here, have some coins for no apparent reason.
it doesn't matter that we don't like Mario Party 8.
Exactly.
Oh, no. But it just blows me away that not only, I mean, yeah, it's selling well and we understand that, but the Nintendo did such a piss poor job of piecing this thing together. I mean, how hard can it be? A bunch of mini games hanging off a board game, and they somehow managed to fuck up the experience.
Yeah.
But does it matter? I mean, that's the ultimate question. Like, does it? I mean, if you look at the numbers, like, every machine except for the Wii is going down in week-to-week numbers, but the Wii continues, even if it's going down a little bit, it's because it's the summer season.
Mm-hmm.
But every other machine is going down drastically, whereas the Wii is kind of a
The Wii is summer-proof. The way it is everything else
It's critic-proof, it's summer-proof. My other weird thing I saw on the MPDs was that number 14 was the dreadful Tenchu Z, which sold surprisingly well considering how dreadful it truly is. It's not a good game. And, it shows you that there are this core group of Xbox 360 owners who
will buy anything.
Well, they move from game to game, and in this month, apparently, that was the one to move to. That and Transformers. It's like...
Have you tried Tenchu Z?
I watched somebody play. That was enough for me.
Oh, boy. It's not good.
Yeah, but it sold. It
Did
sold
you try
quite
it?
well.
Very briefly.
Really?
Yeah.
But I think that shows that, like, Wii has the casual, like 360 has the hardcore. That's why you see a game like Tenchu Z even break the top 20 because it doesn't matter what the game is. Like, that group of gamers is moving from game to game, and that's why you see a game like The Darkness breaking the top 10 only on 360, yet showing nowhere on the top 20 on the PS3.
When did Ninja Gaiden Sigma come out?
It was early July, so
okay,
it's
so
really
next month.
It's not an impact. I don't think we'll even see it in the top 20.
No, I don't think we will, but I was just interested to see how it does. But
So that we don't gloss over them, can you give us the hardware numbers for June, please, real quick?
So PlayStation 3 sold 98,500. Xbox 360 sold 198,400. We sold 381,800.
Which, if you note, that's PS3 and 360 combined, still not as much as Wii.
No,
Nintendo
it's not.
DS 561,000 and PSP
Oh my.
290,000.
Which is really good for PSP. And that
PSP, the price cut shows that, like, it had an impact. I would still argue the price cut is not enough.
enough for what?
Really? I mean, that's pretty good
PSP
numbers.
is never going to beat DS, but PSP has outsold Xbox 360. PSP has carved out a giant. It's a huge market. It's a good market.
So you're saying that Sony is just giving up on chasing Nintendo DS and it's just
I think
giving it its own
I've
niche.
talked about this. The incredibly competitive bundles coming out this fall, the Star Wars bundle and the bundle with Daxter. Those are them going after DS, but they know they can't beat it, but it can still be a success on its own.
But it doesn't seem like comparing the PSP number to the 360 number is quite a fair thing to do there, because isn't the handheld market really just totally different? I mean, you got to compare just the PSP to the DS market, don't you?
Well, but they're all very different. PSP and DS are very different products, and PSP and 360 are obviously very different products. But PSP is a high-end product, and not so much anymore with the price drop.
I don't know. With the introduction of Wii, I'm not sure the comparison is really all that bad. Like with the introduction of Wii, like you're that's that Nintendo DS market in a console form. Like I'm not sure the comparison is really all that bad because at that point, like that market has been brought in.
Who would have thought we'd have a month where PSP was the number 3 platform behind 2 Nintendo boxes?
That's the big point.
Good point.
Well, you nailed that one, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because we had written off PSP. We wrote off PSP on this show about 12 months ago.
All the gloom and doom PSP, it evaporated. And PSP is totally viable.
Do you have a PS2 number there?
I have
no,
a
MB didn't. Do you have it?
I have a very interesting PS2 number for you, which is that you know those guys, the Nielsen's, who do all the TV reviewing, the TV metrics, I should say. They're getting into the video game business, and they're very hot to tell you that in the month of June, PlayStation 2 accounted to 42% of video game play, and there was nothing that was close. Its nearest competitor, as far as total percent of minutes of people playing video games, was the Xbox.
Wait a minute. This is the people who agreed to do the Nielsen ratings reporting on what they play.
So they're using a sample. Yeah, so this is Nielsen's, which is they use a small sample and then extrapolate as John...
And it's time spent, right?
It is time spent playing video games. That is correct. So that's one of the ways they break it down. In June, they break down percent of total minutes used, the number of sessions during days that you played. So if you sat down on a day to play, did you play once? Did you play twice? How many games did you play? And the average number of minutes that you spent playing a game once you sat down to play a game.
Does it include handhelds?
Let me look down the list. It does not include handhelds. It is home console television stuff that hooks up to your television.
Then it's not that surprising since PS2 has 31 million users in
Right, and
America.
Interestingly enough, so by rank they went PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, GameCube, Wii, PlayStation 3. And honestly, nothing came close to PS2. I mean, that just goes to show you the power of that installed base. PlayStation 2 at 42.3% of total minutes used is like way out ahead of Xbox at 17, 360 at 8. And then it gets worse from there, like Wii at 4 and PS3 at 1.5. John, something you pointed out is that these guys use a really small sample.
Right, it's 30. Well, I can't remember the number, but essentially it means that everyone they poll, it has to be representative for more than 30 people in terms of what they represent. So, I mean, I know they screen them, but I mean, I buy definitely that PS2 is the most played console in America right now. I mean, I'm sure it is.
Absolutely. And one of the other interesting things they found is we've poo-pooed Wii quite a bit as not being the home theater or high-end enthusiasts box, right? Well, interestingly enough, they found through their research that Wii households are actually upscale and are more likely than any other console to have a household income in excess of $100,000 per year.
Wow.
That's kind of like that took me back a bit.
I don't find that surprising.
Really? Because
I really don't.
How come?
Because I think that any game console system is fundamentally a luxury.
And and in a lot of ways, the Wii is kind of the most like indulgent toy for. I mean, you could make an argument that it's an indulgence to have this thing in the living room, and that you would maybe in those families probably have a PS2 in someone's bedroom, not the living room, and the Wii would have been bought as a family thing,
and to have it already. The thing just came out, even at its low price point.
But it's hard. It's still hard to find. Too.
Yeah.
They're hard to find.
I've never seen one in a store. Still,
I still haven't. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, one thing they did find was that a lot of people play video games, which is their analysis from their sampling is that 68.1 million individuals used a video game console during June, and Jeff, as far as PC gamers, no big surprise, World of Warcraft, a big hit. More than 4 times as many people play World of Warcraft as any other PC game.
Wow.
Really?
Big surprise. Really, you would never have guessed that, would you?
What's the number they quote?
As far as the number of people playing World of Warcraft, I don't have a number for them specifically. They just
Be interesting to see, because that would help calibrate the effectiveness of their rating. Because if you get a decent, if it was close to the number of people with World of Warcraft accounts.
However, you might gain a chuckle from this because the top 5 PC games for June included, along with World of Warcraft, Halo, Combat Evolved, The Sims, and that big hit RuneScape.
Yeah. Well, RuneScape's free.
RuneScape's like the number 4 MMO behind like Webkins or whatever, right?
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
And Habbo Hotel.
Yeah.
So they did find that the average number of minutes played per week on World of Warcraft was 1,043. So what's that? This is way too detailed. No one cares about this stuff. Really, Nielsen's too detailed. Patrick's laughing. I'm like throwing his stuff.
Well, I'm glad you took us down that path, Garnet. Thank you.
Why did I go down that route
like,
anyway?
World of Warcraft just passed, what,
9 million.
9 million
users. And like what I love about like the way that like Blizzard breaks it down, they break it down exactly how they metric these people. Like these aren't people that are on like gift cards. These are people that like have like, even if they're in a net cafe, have logged in the last 30 days. And like this is before the Burning Crusade has even hit China yet. Like these are ridiculous numbers.
Even if
like,
they fudge the numbers a little, it's
they
still
would
ridiculous.
it would still be far above anyone else, not even close.
So the numbers thing is like a big deal because when Patrick wrote his story, a lot of people immediately about the first day of NPD coverage, we covered PS3, and a lot of people jumped on Patrick's story immediately saying, "Oh, you hate PS3. Why are you so biased against PS3, et cetera, et cetera." The reality of PS3, and this is something Patrick and I were talking about, is that numerically, especially if you go back and look in history, there is almost no way that PlayStation 3 is going to pull out of third place in North America on this holiday season.
No, I mean it can't. Like if you go back on the story, like if the Xbox 360 was to stop being sold today,
like they just fell off the face of the earth.
There was a gaming, like I put in the story, like a gaming apocalypse where the 360 was to stop being sold today, and the PS3 continued on the same sales path for the rest of the year and continuing past into 2008. It would take 33 months in order for the PS3 to catch up to where the 360 is right now. And that's like discounting where like if the Wii continues on its continued trajectory with showing no signs, absolutely no signs of slowing down. Like as soon as the Wii launched, everyone said there was going to be a tail, and there is no tail. To this point, there is no tail. Like they don't have to release jack shit, and there is no tail to that machine.
Because everyone's buying Wii Play and Mario Party 8.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. Like, I mean, like in the fall, that's when the hardcore will like jump in and like they'll get like Mario Galaxy and like Smash Brothers. Like, but like those don't even matter at this point. Like,
In
it is
February,
only casual.
In February of next year, we 5 are going to be sitting here having some really tough conversations about what's going to happen with console gaming. I really think it's going to be some tough conversations.
By the end of 2008, who really knows? I mean, I think we all know that Wii is going to beat 360 by the end of this year in America. But like in the broader scope,
It's so close already.
it's really close. But in the broader scope of PS3 versus 360 worldwide, it's really anyone's game.
But you know what? Here's the thing about Wii, and so I'll work in what Scott asked me to. I actually co-hosted DLTV today with, if you ever watch DLTV, it's Patrick Norton's on it. I co-hosted with him today. We talked about video gaming, and one of the things I brought up about Wii is that it's really good that Wii is doing well, because even if you're just buying Wii to play Wii Sports or Wii Fit, sooner or later, Zelda is powerful enough that you're going to pop Zelda in, and it's so good that you're going to have a good time playing it. And is there a possibility, or how much do you think that Wii could ultimately be the gateway drug, so to speak, of video gaming?
I think it's obvious that it is.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing that it is. I mean, we talked about this before. This is like our dream.
Right.
This was our dream that someday the rest of America was going to get that these things are cool and not evil, and they're not destroying our brains and our
Something
kids.
that struck me listening to you guys talk last week was that we're still differentiating between hardcore games and casual games. And everyone's got to stop doing that. Games are games, and it's like, if it's fun, it's fun. We mentioned Hexic, and you all said, "Oh yeah, you play Hexic, it's really fun." Hexic is the most casual of casual games, but it's compelling. And if that gets someone to buy a Wii or buy a DS or download it from or be interested in getting a 360, isn't ultimately that good?
Rock and roll, have fun.
Says the person who railed against Mario Party 8 for 5 minutes.
No, but Mario, no, wait a minute. I don't want to go after that, because Mario Party is a substandard experience. I'm not objecting to its existence.
Definitely casual.
Right. I don't object to its casualness. I object to its execution. It is a badly designed game.
You object to the fact that you have to play it because of your kids.
If Mario Party didn't have all the bullshit in it, I would gladly play it every weekend. I like the mini games and the casual nature of it. What I object to is the fact that it's so poorly pieced together that the game itself has to fudge the experience for you, because it's not balanced properly, and it's just very badly made.
But if this is indicative in the future, casual games, because of the popularity of Wii and DS, are going to continue to top the charts, and it doesn't really matter if they're good or bad because they're casual, and people who buy casual games.
No, that attitude is bullshit, Shane, because casual and bad quality are not two things that go together.
But I would argue that in general, casual gamers aren't as discerning as hardcore gamers.
Yes, they are. You put anyone that's played Peggle or Bejeweled or Bookworm, and then you put up against some of the bullshit copycats of it that aren't as good.
But those bullshit copycats still sell.
Can I piss you even more?
Do it.
They might actually be more discerning,
How do you say?
Because of this. The hardcore gamer immediately has a penchant to say, I love gaming, I want to love game X, so I'm going to go buy game X. But the casual gamer, they
have absolutely no affinity to anything.
They have
All
no
they
affinity.
want is a quality experience. So if you download some chess game that has bullshit AI in it off Pogo or wherever,
Shit doesn't work.
You're never going to play it ever again.
Exactly. Shit doesn't work. They're like, fuck it. Not good enough. It has to meet the criteria of being as good as the other entertainment options out there. Not just other games, but all the other entertainment
options. Maybe that
options.
applies to cell phone games. Maybe it applies to like the Pogo Island games. But like I think on DS and Wii, the alpha moms don't necessarily know what they're buying.
The alpha moms still want to be entertained, as do all the other people want to be entertained, right?
Well, we can argue about
Patrick's
this.
like had enough of this.
Yeah.
He's like, I've really had enough.
I see this list of shit, and we need to move on.
But I do think that the bottom line, though, is that this is just nothing but good. You know,
I agree.
We shouldn't be fighting the Wii.
It is expanding.
You know?
It's expanding.
At the end of the day, those AAA Mass Effect, Halo 3 games are not going anywhere.
To this day, I still have to take someone like my own mom and say, you know, she still doesn't get video games or why this is a viable entertainment option. And this is someone who does the crossword puzzle and Sudoku in the newspaper every day. And I have to tell her, we're doing the same thing as you. We're taking our leisure time and we're playing games. It's just in a different medium than what you're doing with the paper and the pen. But it's the same experience for our brain.
Sudoku on DS and go,
right.
look.
And now with the Wii, that is going to happen less. We'll be able to say, it's like the Wii, Mom.
Well, I know one of the games I've been looking most forward to as a hardcore gamer is Gran Turismo, and I was pretty excited to see some information in Famitsu this week about Gran Turismo 5. So let me give you some of the details, folks. Coming up this October, at least in Japan. Patrick, have you heard anything about domestic release for America?
No, I mean, it's not this year.
You don't think so?
Oh,
No.
GT5 Prologue is this year.
Prologue.
Yeah, that's what
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Probably November. Sometime in November.
Yeah.
PlayStation Network.
Have they scoped what Prologue is yet?
Yes, they have. So you're going to have, according to, so they had an interview with Yamauchi, and he copped to this much, that there should be about 40 cars. There'll be 4 courses, and those 4 courses will encompass about 8 different layouts. It will be somewhere between what you get in the GT mode and an arcade mode. And that being said, what you'll get is you'll have some ability to tune the cars, but you won't have all those upgrade options. You won't be buying lots of different
And
stuff
just
for
to be
it.
clear, this is a completely different product from the existing GT HD.
Yes.
That is correct.
New engine, new everything.
And this might be a disappointing part of that is that he did confirm that there will not be car nor course downloadable content.
This isn't a full product. This is like
it is an encapsulated product.
Yeah, exactly. This is like this is what we've been doing since then.
And they've done
The
prologues
real
before.
games
It's the
coming
same as GT3
Right.
prologue,
They've
right?
never come out in America before. They came out in Europe and Japan. This isn't the first time they've done it.
However, what you will get is you'll get online racing.
Well, yeah, and it's online only. That's what I've heard.
But haven't they been saying
Actually-
that forever? Like at this point, like, will I really get online racing? Like,
Yes,
they've
no,
been
you will really
promising
get-
online racing
No,
forever.
I mean,
where's GTPSP? Where is it?
Oh,
Where is it?
That's a good
Where
question.
is it? Where
But I
is
mean,
it?
does-
Like,
does-
I don't. At this point, I don't buy those claims because at this point, like,
Well,
they've promised so much with that series. and I've seen
Does
nothing.
Yamauchi come in? Because what I've heard is that this is only online, and there
He
is
doesn't-
no single player mode.
Based off of his comments, it does not seem to be online only. What he
Okay.
said is that it'll be 16 car races in offline mode.
Oh, okay.
And that may drop to 12 cars in the online racing mode.
Could the confusion over online only be that it's only distributed
That
online?
Yeah, I think
that
that's-
could be it. Yeah,
I think that's absolutely where it's coming from, because this is definitely intended to be a PlayStation Network store kind of
Yeah.
download that you're going to go and buy it there.
I mean, I wouldn't say that it'll probably be a retail release in some form. Like, look at Warhawk. That is a PSN game, but like
Right.
it's still coming out in retail. And like, I'm sure we will see probably a retail version of this. But as far as this being like promoted as a retail product, like that's something I really doubt.
I know I'm a car nut. As much as I love Forza 2, I am thrilled to potentially... Did you guys see the in-cockpit video of the GT5?
Yeah.
When that switches from the outside to the inside, like, I do not give a shit about racing games, but my jaw was on the floor watching.
I think
that.
we're all in agreement.
Dude,
Like,
and the
Yeah.
detail, if you watch him, you can actually see the driver's foot freaking doing a proper heel and toe on the accelerator and brake while he's going through the corner. I was like,
it's
oh my God.
ridiculous.
Aren't you
It
just
is-
going to crash, though, if you're watching your foot?
I don't care. It's pretty-
Way to,
God damn it, Jeff.
way to bring reality into this.
Yeah.
Leave my little fantasy alone, okay? I'm just enjoying my car game, all right? So there were some other great videos this week, which I think is the right spot to like wrap this whole show up. Let's start with.
Well, Metal Gear Solid 4 happened first.
That was where I was going to go. So, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, we knew they were having the 20th anniversary party in Tokyo for Metal Gear Solid, and there's going to be a live gameplay demonstration for the first time ever. We just didn't know it was going to be this long, this awesome, show off these many types of gameplay. Like,
wow.
I mean, the one-up show that came out today, there's a really awesome segment that shows the clip, and it shows us interviewing Ryan Payton, one of the producers. And you can now on PSN through PS3 download the whole thing also there. It's phenomenal.
Whatever complaints I have ever had about Metal Gear, I'll tell you this much. There is no game that inspires any more like pomp and excitement and atmosphere than this game.
Well, and it's funny, we were talking in that earlier segment about how how many Splinter Cells there have been, and they're on Splinter Cell 5, and this is Metal Gear Solid 4. And it goes to show you, when you take a lot of time to really make the sequel different and introduce tons of new things and reinvent the whole thing, it's a big deal, and everyone takes notice.
So what do you think of the Octo Camo?
That's fantastic.
Why is it okay, that's too easy a cop-out. Why is it fantastic?
Well, I mean, the camo system in MGS3, while creative, it was kind of cumbersome, and a lot of menus involved, and now you can just touch an object and take that camouflage like a chameleon and put it on your body, and that's awesome. And you can also turn it off by shaking your 6-axis. That's awesome.
And one of the things that impressed me most, and I don't know how much this is gonna be the final game, but how you can switch sides.
Well, that's
in the demo they showed
that's the whole game.
I know that's in the whole game, but how that plays out in the full game, where you can shoot X guy or shoot Y guy, and that determines this goes back to an earlier discussion we had about
country A and country B.
Right. This goes back to an earlier discussion we had about how do companies produce games where they have branching paths, but these games are so expensive. Where is this branching path, and how is that going to influence the game? I'm really excited to see where that goes.
Yeah.
But at this point, I don't know the extent of it. I know it influences the battle we saw, but what does that mean for the game?
Yeah, in terms of overall scope, it's hard to know what will happen. But other things that they did, they've rethought the controls. I mean, one of the problems with previous MGS games is the controls are really convoluted. There's a big learning curve, and they've changed it. You see everything's context sensitive. The cover's more like Gears of War. They've really gone and revamped everything. So I think this product is going to hit two levels. It's going to hit the Metal Gear fans because it's a continuation of MGS2's plot. It has all the crazy shit we expect, and it's still underlying plays like Metal Gear. But at the same time, they're going to get the Tom Clancy crowd because it's a lot more like that, and the gameplay is a lot easier to get into. So, yeah. Well, the other big announcement is that Metal Gear Online is a separate product. And they showed that, and it looks pretty exciting. So there's a lot of exciting stuff going on.
I'm curious to hear Jeff as ostensibly a PC gamer guy.
What do you mean ostensibly?
Those games don't get reviewed well.
Because Jeff, I know you played some other shit, so don't be trying to give me no snow job.
Okay.
What was your response to watching that this afternoon?
I thought it looked great. I really did. Yeah, I was really impressed. To be honest, I haven't really seen much PS3 footage of anything because, just kind of not my thing, and I don't have a PS3 yet. But seeing that, I was really impressed. I was. And that camo thing, the camo stuff was stuff I've never really seen before.
I was really interested in
the guy had a really nice ass.
Let's Snake, baby.
Yeah, very snug fitting. Mm-hmm. The fact that moving to the over the shoulder, and the fact that you could potentially play the whole game from first person, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
You guys actually
some speculation about that.
Yeah, you guys talked about that last week before the demo hit. I think Jeremy brought it up that it would be interesting if he went that way, and I think after the online stuff. From the previous game where people were struggling moving between first and third person, the fact that he says you can play the whole game like this if you want. It might be a bit uncomfortable because it didn't look very natural.
You kind of have to still use the 6-axis to do certain things like lean around the corners and stuff like that. So it doesn't seem like it's perfect, but they're giving you the option to do that.
And they're also, for the first time ever, letting you reconfigure the controls, change your aiming speed and stuff like that.
Right.
Very big.
You can never do that in the other MGS games.
Never.
So, how far down that road do they start getting into trouble with the Sean Elliott's of the world? Because Sean was definitely raised a lot of people's eyebrows by his response to Jeremy's blog. I don't know. Did you guys read that? So his blog got a lot of people attention and a lot of people angry at him because what he said, and he specifically addressed this as a response to Jeremy's blog, was that, by the way, guys, if you're going to go realistic with Metal Gear, then you start to notice some things that are not quite congruous with everything else that's going on. For instance, when he turns around and sees the guys up on top of the building and shoots them, and a second later they decide to just jump forward off the building. How far does it go before it becomes a problem?
Well, I mean...
How far before it breaks the illusion?
they're getting closer to more realism. I mean, like no longer giant rations don't pop out of people and spin around on like a small ration, and like they drop their gun, you actually pick the gun up. But it isn't real yet, and the AI in Metal Gear is really good for a stealth game, but not as good as a shooter generally.
I don't know. I'm coming to this. I watched that video with not much familiarity with the series, and what I didn't, so I had no preconceptions, and I did not walk away from that thinking, oh, they're making a realistic game here. I mean, you had a guy within the first 2 minutes posing as a statue.
Right, and at the same time,
with his hand on a dude's junk.
Right, whenever someone's like, oh, that part I didn't believe. Well, but the part where he fought a cybernetic ninja and a vampire, you believe that part? Come on, there's suspension of disbelief in Metal Gear, and if you want to
the Patriots,
if you want to nitpick, you'll find problems in that trailer, but just get over yourself. Sean Elliott.
So what did you like the best, Jeff?
Of what?
Of the Metal Gear Solid trailer.
His ass, clearly.
there was that, yeah. I thought that camo stuff was really cool. I thought it was a great idea.
What'd you like the best, John?
Well, I like the best?
Yeah. Come on, just quick hit.
No,
What'd you like the best?
I like the fact that they've kind of, for want of a better word, westernized the gameplay a little bit.
What'd you like the best, Patrick?
Same thing. They're just addressing the issues.
What'd you like the best?
There's a ton of things, but I was really happy with what they did with the Metal Gear MK2 little robot. You actually control him with the 6-axis, and he can like stun people and do different things. And Snake's actually holding the 6-axis, doing what you're doing. It's really cute.
Mine's really technical. I just love the fluidity of it. Every part of his animations, every move that he made, it just all stitched together really well.
That was my big problem with the last trailer. Was the animation looked like Metal Gear Solid, the series on PS2 or PS1.
Right.
The animation, clearly Kojima took that to heart and said,
I know.
we need to address that. Like the next gen is a lot about animation.
Dude, they nailed it on the.
They nailed it.
Freaking nailed
another
it.
thing that really impressed me. It's not in the trailer, but at the event they announced that Eva, the love interest for MGS3, is in MGS4, and she's like 75 years old, which is awesome.
Gilf.
Total gilf.
Gilf.
Yeah. All right, so I got to bring it home. Bring it home with my prediction for E3, which rang true, but got even better this week, which is the extended Resident Evil 5 trailer. Holy shit.
So, but they showed snippets of that at both the Microsoft and Sony press conferences, and now you can
nothing like this.
Yeah, now you can download the whole thing on both Xbox Live and PSN, and it is ridiculous.
And if you look today or on Wednesday, and they've talked about that is gameplay.
Oh yeah,
you can tell.
But I know, but a lot of the problem with next gen trailers is what can you tell is what but Kevin has come out and said that is gameplay. Well, it looks RE4, but fucking amazing. Yeah, that's what it is.
If you watch it, I mean, you can see RE4 in that. It's changed, and
you can really see it over the shoulder, the way it feels,
the way the enemies are coming at you. But if you watch, Chris, he has a lot of new melee moves that are awesome. He can dodge. He's punching people, and just
dude, that punch where he knocked.
Oh my god!
Sorry, dude.
Garnet actually just almost attempted to punch Shane.
Yeah, I had to dodge.
He got a little too into it.
Not unlike Chris Redfield.
Shane's animation system was amazing right there.
Where he punches that guy off the catwalk, I was like, oh fuck, that was awesome.
Well, and also, I think we're all impressed by this the serious nature. It has this Black Hawk Down, oppressive feel, and I'm not going to open the can of worms I did at E3, but
you already did, dude.
I still think watch this trailer, and it is a white man shooting black people, including black women, at point blank range. I think Capcom has a PR nightmare on their hands. I'm curious how they're going to deal with this.
I'm kind of with you on that. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not saying that I thought the game was racist at all.
And that's what I'm saying either.
I'm not saying that.
I think people will be able to construe it as
it
being
can
racist.
be construed that way. Yeah.
But the drama, dude, that watching that, I just felt like I was in this incredibly intense situation.
Listen, I thought the trailer was awesome. I'm in agreement with you that I thought it looked cool. It made me want to play the game. I was not offended at all, not one iota. But it made me think.
But you can see why someone would be offended.
I could say, "Oh my god!" If someone took this out of context,
that's it.
They could get offended.
But that's what people do.
But that's what people do. They take things out of context. So that's why I agree with Shane that they are going to have a PR nightmare. I also want to.
Did you take Tears of the Sun out of context?
No. I don't take things out of context because I'm smart.
And an adult.
But what I want to ask you, though, is even though I thought it was great, the way you guys reacted to this now, it makes me wonder because we have all seen movie trailers that end up being much more awesome than the movie itself. Don't you think we need to rein it in a little bit?
But Resident Evil 4 was so good. And they're following the same style. It's kind of like...
But it's not proof. This is not proof that Resident Evil 5 is going to be good yet.
How could they fuck it up?
I mean,
Well,
based on
don't
that
ask,
trailer,
don't invite
based
that.
on that
Should we
trailer
list the ways?
and our experience with RE4, I think it's okay to be like very positive and optimistic about this game. My one other fear though is I don't like the way the director, I forget his name, but in the interview with Famitsu, he's like being very coy, like, oh, maybe this will be out in 2008, maybe it'll be out in 2010. Dude, shut the fuck up, all right? Like,
It better be out Christmas next year.
Don't toy with us. Really.
Oh,
Don't
come on.
toy.
He's just playing some shit. I mean, that's just to get publicity.
You don't play with that shit.
I did
Oh.
like too that the protagonist this time. I don't know why I'm focusing on the guy's like bodies in this last segment.
He's
here,
really
but
cut, isn't he?
He was super ripped.
He's
this
really
guy.
buff.
You were noticing,
and
yeah.
in Resident Evil 4, the guy was a little wispy.
Well, we should also comment on for a brief moment. You see a glimpse of this female character in like this big glass chamber full of water, and everyone's like, "Who is that? Who is that?" And I'm sticking with the theory that it's Sherry Birkin from Resident Evil 3. This little
very,
girl.
very popular.
She was caged up. That's where we left her in the story.
Well, yeah,
and,
she was a little girl who helped Chris in that game, and she was caged up. And the story goes that Wesker took her and like put her in this tube and injected her with the T virus. And
Well, I'm hoping that RE5 is kind of like RE4. Like we didn't get a whole lot of continuation of the story. It was very, very divergent.
Well,
with brief mentions of Umbrella.
but no,
towards
but
the end.
they've been clear. Umbrella and Stars are gone, disbanded. All that's gone.
But he's
Hopefully
wearing
they'll
a
get more of
Stars
wrap
uniform.
up.
It's apparently disbanded.
I'm just saying he's still rocking the uniform. I'm saying it's Claire.
I think it's
I
Sherry.
know everybody thinks I'm nuts.
I also
still
think
saying-
Sherry's going to be the playable character, and she's going to have some crazy ass T virus powers.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier that if she's been injected, she might have some of the Nemesis powers,
Yeah.
and yeah.
So very much playing off of what they did in the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
not
I
too
think
shy to
the,
do that.
Great idea.
Twisting it back.
I like it. No
wait.
one will deny this. 4 was extremely compelling because it was really in your face. It was this really, really visceral experience, and this reads like.
Garnick gets really animated when he's talking about
God, dude,
Resident
I
Evil.
watched that video, and they like all those guys coming at you. You're just like,
But,
you could feel the panic.
But what's funny, between the RE5 trailer and the MGS4 demo this week, it's like, wow, why weren't these things at E3 like this? It's like the excitement we're all feeling now. Oh, it would have been cool if we'd had that at E3, huh?
Whatever. E3 sucked. Whatever. Move on. Get over it. E3 done. Goodbye. See ya. Buried it.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll come back like a Resident Evil zombie. Who knows?
Probably not.
Anyway, we will come back. We will come back next week and the week after and the week after and the week after. You can tell us if you think we're full of shit at boards.oneup.com, or you can tell us if you think you agree. Who is that chick at the end of Resident Evil? We don't know. What do you think? Let us know. We'll be back next week. We'll see you then.